Eric kept looking past me toward the ballroom doors. "Mom, please don't do this here." We were standing in the main hall of Cumberland Ridge Club. It was April 30th, just before 5. The public wedding showcase was going on around us. Servers carried trays of sparkling water. A piano player was working through the same quiet song twice. Kelsey stood near the florist's display. Her jaw was tight. Brianna was only a few steps away, close enough to hear us. I held one sheet of paper against my purse. "I asked you a simple question," I said. Eric rubbed the back of his neck. He had done that since he was a boy. It usually meant he wanted the moment to end without making a decision. "Can we talk somewhere private?" "No. I've waited in private long enough." That was when he finally looked at me. I could see he was frightened, not of losing me. Not yet. He was frightened of Kelsey hearing the wrong answer and everyone else hearing the right one. What he said next changed the room. But to understand why I was standing there with that paper, you need to know how small my place in Eric's life had become. It didn't happen all at once. If it had, I might have noticed sooner. My husband Donald died in 2021. He'd already turned 68. We'd been at the kitchen table that morning, arguing gently about whether the peaches I bought were ripe. He pressed one with his thumb. "These are hard enough to play golf with." "Then take them tomorrow," I said. "Maybe your score will improve." He laughed and put the peach back. 2 weeks later, that chair was empty. The house at 414 Harpeth Bend Road didn't feel quiet at first. It felt paused. Donald's reading glasses stayed beside his chair. His blue windbreaker hung in the hall closet. I kept expecting the garage door to rise around 5. Eric came often during those first months. He was 42 then. He changed the air filter and cleaned the gutters. He brought barbecue from the place Donald liked. Sometimes he sat without speaking. That was fine with me. One Sunday, he found me standing in the garage with Donald's golf bag. "You don't have to deal with that yet," he said. "I'm not dealing with it." "What are you doing?" "Standing here, apparently." Eric took the bag from me and set it back against the wall. Then he made coffee. He stayed until after dark. Back then, if I called, he answered. If he missed the call, he returned it. I never expected every day. He had his work and his own home. I wasn't asking him to fill Donald's chair. I only wanted to remain his mother. Eric met Kelsey the following year. I first met her over lunch in Franklin. She arrived exactly on time and brought me white tulips. "You have a beautiful home," she said. "You haven't seen it yet." Eric laughed. Kelsey didn't. I saw the pictures he posted after Christmas. That was my first little warning. Nothing terrible. Just the sense that she had studied the room before entering it. Kelsey was organized. She remembered restaurant reservations and sent calendar invitations for family meals. She ordered for Eric before he had opened the menu. "He always gets the salmon," she told me. Eric looked up. "I was thinking about the steak. The salmon's better for you." He closed the menu. "Salmon's fine," I noticed. Then I told myself not to become difficult. When they married in 2023, I was included. Kelsey chose my dress with me. She sent me 3 links and said the navy one would photograph best. At the wedding, I met Brianna briefly. She was Kelsey's grown daughter, but the day was crowded. We exchanged perhaps 6 words near the cake table. She said, "It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Powell." I said, "Please call me Sandra." Someone called her for pictures. She smiled and hurried away. I assumed there would be time later. After the marriage, Eric's calls started changing. First, they became shorter. "Can I call you back, Mom?" Then they came with Kelsey in the background. "We're about to eat. We're walking out the door." Kelsey already made plans. Soon the returned calls stopped coming. If I invited them for dinner, Eric would say, "Let me check." Checking usually took 3 days. By then, Kelsey had a reason they couldn't come. Once, I made Donald's pot roast because Eric loved it. I called on a Tuesday and invited them for Sunday. "That sounds good," Eric said. "Let me talk to Kelsey." On Friday, Kelsey texted me, "We're keeping Sunday low-key, another time." At 6 on Sunday evening, I saw pictures online. They were at Kelsey's mother's house. There were 8 people around the table. I didn't mention it. That became a habit. Kelsey would offer an explanation. Eric would sound tired. I would say, "All right, sweetheart." Then I'd put my phone beside my mug and finish eating. Cumberland Ridge helped after Donald died. We had belonged for years. Donald played golf. I used the dining room, attended the garden lunches, and helped with the spring charity sale. My membership card stayed in a small pocket inside my purse. It was ordinary to me. I used it for lunch or to charge tea when I met friends. Membership also came with responsibilities. A member could sponsor certain events for non-members. The member's name opened the reservation. It also carried the bill if something went wrong. Donald used to joke about it. That little card can order a sandwich or ruin a month. I never sponsored anything large. There was no reason to. Still, I understood the rule. Nothing was final until the member signed the authorization. That mattered later. At the time, it was only a card in my purse. In October of 2025, I learned Eric had adopted Brianna. I didn't learn it from Eric. A pale envelope arrived on a Thursday afternoon. I thought it was a wedding invitation because the paper was thick. Their return address was printed across the flap. Inside was a photograph of Eric, Kelsey, and Brianna standing together outside a courthouse. Brianna was 24 then. Eric had one arm around her. Kelsey held a small bunch of yellow flowers. Under the picture, the card said they were happy to announce that Eric's adoption of Brianna was complete. At the bottom, someone had written, "Our family is officially complete." I stood in the kitchen reading it. Then I read it again. The mail was still under my arm. A grocery advertisement slid onto the floor. I left it there. Eric had adopted a grown daughter. That meant I had a granddaughter. It also meant there had been conversations, paperwork, and a courthouse date. Everyone in that photograph knew. I had known nothing. I called Eric. He didn't answer. I made tea, though I never drank it. The card remained beside my mug. 40 minutes later, he called back. "Hey, Mom, did you get the announcement?" "Yes. We wanted you to have one." I looked at the three smiling faces. "When did this happen?" "Monday." 3 days ago?" "Yeah. And when did you decide to do it?" There was a pause. "It's been in progress for a while." "How long is a while?" "Mom, it's just paperwork. Brianna and I already felt like family. I understand that. I'm asking how long." He lowered his voice. "Several months." I sat down. "You worked on this for several months, and you never told me." Kelsey wanted to keep it private. From me, from everybody, until it was done. The announcement in front of me was addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Leonard Pike. Their name had been crossed out and mine written beneath it. I ran my thumb over the ink. Was the courthouse private too? What do you mean? Who took the picture? Kelsey's sister. So somebody knew. She helped with flowers. Mom, don't turn this into something. I'm trying to understand what it is. It's a good thing. Can't you just be happy? I closed my eyes. I am happy for you. I'm hurt that you hid it. We didn't hide it, you told me afterward. That isn't the same. It feels the same from this side. He sighed. Not loudly. That almost made it worse. I picked up the card again. I'd like to meet Brianna properly. You've met her. For 6 words at your wedding. She's been busy. I'm not asking for a weekend trip. I'd like lunch. I'll ask her. When? Mom. When will you ask her? I said I'll handle it. That answer stayed with me. Not because it was cruel. It wasn't. It was soft and reasonable. That was how Eric avoided things. He made a promise with no date and waited for me to feel rude for remembering it. I said, "Please give her my congratulations." "Of course, and tell her I'd like to see her." "I will." We hung up. I left the announcement on the table overnight. The tea developed a thin skin. I poured it out the next morning. A week passed. I called Eric again. "Did you speak with Brianna? She has a lot going on." "Did you ask her?" "She's changing roles at work." That wasn't my question. He became quiet. Finally, he said, "I mentioned it to Kelsey." "Why did you mention it to Kelsey?" "She knows Brianna's schedule." "Does Brianna know I asked?" "We don't want her to feel pressured." I looked through the kitchen window. My neighbor was pulling dead leaves from her flower bed. She kept filling the same brown paper bag, pressing the leaves down, then filling it again. "A lunch invitation isn't pressure," I said. "You're making this heavier than it needs to be." "I didn't make it heavy, Eric. Can we talk later?" "We are talking now. Kelsey's calling me." "Of course she is." He heard that. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. "Call me when you've asked Brianna yourself." He didn't call. 2 days later, Kelsey did. "Sandra, I wanted to clear the air. There wasn't any air between us." She gave a small laugh. "I know the announcement surprised you." It did. The adoption was very personal for Brianna. I'm sure it was. She's had a lot of feelings. I haven't asked her to explain them. No, but meeting extended family right now might feel like another obligation. I held the phone tighter. Extended family? You know what I mean. I'd like you to say what you mean. She took a breath. Brianna already has established relationships. We need to give the new family structure time. What does that have to do with coffee? It's not just coffee, Sandra. What is it then? It comes with expectations. I glanced at Donald's chair. His reading glasses were still in the drawer beside it. I had finally moved them there that summer. My expectation is that she chooses whether to meet me. She will, eventually. Has anyone told her I asked? Kelsey didn't answer at once. Then she said, "We haven't presented it that way. What way did you present it?" "We told her you were adjusting." I stood up so quickly that my knee struck the table. Adjusting to what? To the adoption. I congratulated Eric the day I learned. You also criticized how you were informed. That was between my son and me. It upset him. I looked at the announcement. I had moved it onto the sideboard, but I hadn't thrown it away. I asked to meet my granddaughter, and we're asking you to give us time. How much? I can't put a deadline on Brianna's comfort. Has Brianna said she's uncomfortable? Another pause. Kelsey's voice changed after that. It became careful. We're protecting her peace. I had heard enough. All right, I said. Thank you for understanding. I didn't say I understood. I ended the call. My hand shook once. I put the phone down and waited until it stopped. Then I opened the bottom drawer of Donald's desk. The drawer had a small brass lock. Inside were our membership papers, tax receipts, and the notebook I used after his death. I turned to a clean page. October 23rd. Asked Eric to arrange lunch with Brianna. He said she was busy. Below that, I wrote the date of Kelsey's call. Brianna has not been told I requested a meeting. They told her I was adjusting to the adoption. I read the sentence twice. That was my first useful answer. Brianna wasn't refusing me. She hadn't been given the chance. I placed the announcement beside the notebook. My club membership card had slipped from my purse when I set it on the desk. I picked it up, put it back in the zipped pocket, and locked the drawer. Then I sent Eric one message. Please don't tell Brianna what I feel. Tell her what I asked. He answered 12 minutes later. I will. That was all. I wanted to ask what those 2 words meant. I wanted him to promise he would say it exactly. Instead, I set the phone beside the notebook. For the next week, I checked it too often. Every sound made me look. The washing machine finished. A delivery truck backed up across the street. My oven timer went off. Each time I reached for the phone, nothing came from Eric. The following Saturday, I went to Cumberland Ridge for lunch. I met a friend in the small dining room overlooking the practice green. I kept my purse beside my chair. Our server asked whether I wanted the chicken salad. I always get the chicken salad, I said. That's why I asked. I ordered soup instead. It was a small choice. Almost silly. Still, I remember it because I spent that whole month waiting for other people to decide where I belonged. When I got home, there was a voicemail from Eric. Hey Mom, just checking in. Call me when you get this. I called before taking off my coat. He answered in his car. Did you tell her? Tell who what? Brianna. Oh, yeah, I brought it up. What did she say? She said that was nice? That was nice? Those weren't her exact words. What were her exact words? Traffic clicked in the background. He must have had his turn signal on. She's got a lot happening right now. That sounds like your answer. Mom, I'm driving. You called me, I know. I thought we could have a normal conversation. I leaned against the kitchen counter. A normal conversation would include what you told her. I said you sent your congratulations. And the lunch? I said maybe we could all get together sometime. I pressed my fingers against my forehead. That isn't what I asked you to say. What difference does it make? It makes the difference between me inviting her and you offering a vague family plan. Why does this have to be so exact? Because Kelsey already changed my feelings into a warning. No one is warning anybody. She said you told Brianna I was adjusting. That wasn't meant badly. How was it meant? He let out a breath. I'm pulling into the store. Can we leave this alone? I looked at Donald's old coffee cup beside the sink. I used it to hold wooden spoons now. Yes, I said. We can leave it exactly where you put it. He was quiet. I'll talk to you later. He didn't. Thanksgiving was 4 weeks away. I usually cooked. Donald had carved the turkey and Eric had mashed the potatoes. Even after Donald died, Eric came early and used the same dented pot. The first year, he stood at the stove with tears running down his face. Too much steam, he said. There isn't any steam yet. Then these onions are aggressive. There were no onions. I didn't correct him. That was the Eric I kept waiting for. The one who knew grief didn't need to be explained before it could sit at my table. I sent him a message on Sunday. I'm cooking Thanksgiving dinner. I'd like you, Kelsey, and Brianna to come. Please let me know by Friday. Eric called that evening. Kelsey's mother usually hosts. Then you can alternate. We don't want to offend anyone. I almost laughed. Anyone? You know what I mean. I'm not sure I do. She's used to having Brianna there, and I've never had her here. Mom, this is exactly the pressure we were talking about. I invited 3 adults to dinner. It's the first holiday after the adoption. That seems like a reason to include me. He lowered his voice. We'll see what we can do. Friday passed. On Saturday morning, Kelsey called. We've worked out Thanksgiving. The way she said it made me feel like a difficult seating problem. All right, we're going to Mom's for the main meal. We can stop by your house afterward for dessert. What time? Maybe 7? Will Brianna come? She may have plans with friends later. Then what time can she come? Sandra, I can't manage everyone's schedule around one introduction. I opened the refrigerator. I had already bought butter, celery, and fresh cranberries. The turkey order slip was held to the door by a magnet. I didn't ask you to manage it. I asked what time. Plan for Eric and me. If Brianna can join, she will. I should have said no. Instead, I said, what dessert does she like? Kelsey's voice softened. She loves pecan pie. I can make that. That would be lovely. There it was. The little opening I'd been waiting for. I took it. Thanksgiving morning, I roasted the turkey anyway. Not a large one. I told myself I wanted leftovers. I set 3 places at the dining table, then added a 4th. I used the cream plates with the green border. Donald had chosen them when we were first married. At 6:30, I put coffee on. At 7:15, nobody had arrived. I texted Eric. Are you still coming? At 7:28, he replied. Running late. Sorry. At 8, the pecan pie was still untouched. I called. Kelsey answered Eric's phone. Hi, Sandra. We're just leaving Mom's. Are you coming here? There was talking behind her. I heard a door close. Eric's exhausted. You said 7. I said maybe 7. Where is Brianna? She went out with friends. I sat down at the table. So she isn't coming. No. And you knew that when? Sometime this afternoon. You could have told me. We were busy. With Thanksgiving? Yes, Sandra. With Thanksgiving. I stared at the 4th plate. Put Eric on. He's driving. I heard a door close. We're getting into the car. Then let him speak before he starts it. She covered the phone. I heard their voices, not the words. Eric came on. Hey, Mom, are you coming? He hesitated. We probably shouldn't. It's late. The coffee is made. I'm sorry. The pie is sitting here. We can come tomorrow. You have plans tomorrow. We can figure something out. I rested my hand on the table. Did Brianna know she was invited? Mom, not tonight. That's a simple question. Kelsey handled the plans. Did Brianna know? I don't know. You never asked her. We've been trying to keep everybody happy. No, Eric. You've been keeping one person from being unhappy. Kelsey said something beside him. He whispered, please. I waited. Then he said, we'll call tomorrow. The line went dead. I cleared 3 plates. I left mine because I had not eaten. When I lifted the 4th plate, I noticed a small chip along the edge. I ran my finger over it, then put it back in the cabinet. The next morning, Eric arrived alone. He carried a plastic container with 2 slices of ham. Kelsey's mother sent this. I looked at the container. That was thoughtful. He set it on the counter. I'm sorry about last night. I poured coffee into 2 mugs. I didn't offer him pie. He sat at the kitchen table. We stayed longer than we planned. You knew Brianna had left. Yeah. You knew I was waiting. I lost track of time. You checked your phone at 7:15. He looked down. I should have called. Yes. I sat across from him. Did Brianna know she was invited? He wrapped both hands around his mug. Kelsey thought it would be easier if we didn't make it a whole thing. What whole thing? You meeting. I'm not meeting a foreign ambassador. I know. Does Brianna know I want to see her? He rubbed his neck. I told you I mentioned it. That isn't what I asked. He looked toward the hallway. Donald's photograph hung beside the doorway. It showed him holding a golf trophy he had not actually won. He had borrowed it for the picture. Eric looked back at me. I don't think she knows how much you've asked. There was the truth finally. Not all of it. Enough. What does she think? I don't know. You do know something. He lifted the mug but didn't drink. Kelsey told her you need space. I kept my face still. From Brianna? From the changes? What changes? The marriage, the adoption, all of it. I attended your wedding. I know. I sent Brianna a gift through you after the adoption. I know. I asked to take her to lunch. I know. Which part looked like I wanted space? He pressed his lips together. Kelsey thought you were upset. I was upset with you. She doesn't separate things that way. I do. I understand. No. You repeat her version and call that understanding. He pushed the mug away. What do you want me to do? Give Brianna my phone number. His eyes moved toward his coat. Mom, she's a grown woman. I know that. Then she can decide whether to use it. I need to talk to Kelsey. No, you don't. She's Brianna's mother. And I'm not asking to go around her. I'm asking you to stop standing in front of everyone. He stood. I came here to apologize. You came here with leftover ham. That isn't fair. I looked at the plastic container. You're right. The ham didn't do anything. He almost smiled. It appeared for half a second, then disappeared. I don't want us fighting. Neither do I. Then give it time. You keep asking me for time. What happens during it? He didn't answer. I wrapped the pecan pie in foil. I put the whole thing into a cardboard bakery box. Take this to Brianna. He looked surprised. The whole pie? It was made for her. I thought we could have some. You already had dessert. He accepted the box. Do you want me to tell her anything? Yes. Tell her I made it because you said she liked pecan pie. That's it? That's the truth. Start there. He carried it to his car. I watched through the window. Before pulling away, he made a call. I knew who it was without hearing. That afternoon, Kelsey sent a message. The pie was delicious. Thank you, I replied. I'm glad Brianna liked it. 3 dots appeared, then vanished. A minute later, Kelsey wrote back. We all did. I put my phone down. For years, usefulness had been my safest place in the family. I cooked. I remembered birthdays. I kept spare keys. When Eric needed someone to wait for a repairman, I waited. When Kelsey wanted Donald's old folding tables for a neighborhood event, I cleaned them and loaded them into Eric's car. Helping had always felt like love to me. Now I saw how easily they accepted the help while keeping the person at arm's length. I saw my part too. Every time they moved the door, I carried something toward it. A meal, a gift, a pie. I kept hoping the next useful thing would earn me a chair inside. I hated admitting that. 2 weeks later, Eric called while I was sorting Christmas cards. Brianna wanted me to thank you for the pie. Why didn't she call? I didn't give her your number. I placed a card back into its envelope. Did you give her my message? Yes. The exact message? I told her you made it for her. And? She was surprised. Why? She didn't know you knew what she liked. I waited. Eric continued. She said she thought you weren't interested in getting close. There it was. A little more truth. What did you tell her? I said things had been busy. That wasn't an answer. I didn't want to start something with Kelsey. So you left Brianna believing it. He was quiet. Then he said, I should have handled it differently. Yes. I'm trying, Mom. What did you do today that was different? He had no answer for that. After we hung up, I crossed his name off the Christmas card in front of me. Then I wrote it again on a fresh envelope. I wasn't ready to stop being his mother. That was the dependence I hadn't wanted to name. I kept thinking dignity meant staying calm enough that he would eventually choose me without being asked. Christmas came and went with one short visit. Eric and Kelsey stayed 40 minutes. Brianna did not come. Kelsey said she had another gathering. They brought me a candle that smelled like pine. I gave them wrapped gifts, including one for Brianna. In January, Kelsey began calling more often. At first, the calls were almost friendly. She asked where I bought my table linens. She wanted Donald's recipe for bourbon glaze. Then she asked whether Cumberland Ridge still allowed members to reserve the grand ballroom for private events. I believe so, I said. How many people does it hold? I'm not sure. Could you find out? For what? She paused, and then her voice brightened. Brianna's getting married. I sat down at Donald's desk. When? This summer. We're still working on the date. Does Eric know you're telling me? He's sitting right here. I heard him say something in the background. Kelsey continued. We're looking at reception spaces. Brianna loves Cumberland Ridge, but they only let members reserve the ballroom. My purse was on the desk. The membership card sat behind its little zipper. I know, I said. We thought you might help us understand how it works. I can explain the rules, I said. Why don't all 4 of us have lunch there? Kelsey went quiet. All 4? You, Eric, Brianna, and me. That might be a lot for her. A meal? The wedding is already stressful. She just got engaged. Exactly. Everything is new. I looked at the January rain against the window, then asked her. I will. Let her answer. Kelsey gave a short laugh. You make it sound like I don't let my daughters speak. I didn't respond. Eric said something behind her. Kelsey covered the phone, but I heard my name. Then she came back. We can do Saturday. What time? Noon. Noon is fine. I'll check with Brianna. Call me after you do. All right. She did not call. Friday afternoon, I sent Eric a message. Are we still meeting tomorrow? He replied 10 minutes later. Yes. Noon. Is Brianna coming? He started typing, then stopped, then started again. I think so. That answer bothered me. At 11 the next morning, I dressed for lunch. I wore a gray sweater and the silver earrings Donald gave me for our anniversary. I placed my membership card in the outside section of my wallet. At 11:20, Kelsey called. We're running a few minutes behind. That's fine, and Brianna can't make it. I remained standing in front of the hall mirror. Why? She has an appointment. On Saturday? Yes. What kind? Sandra. You arranged this lunch around her. She didn't arrange anything. We did. That was the first honest thing Kelsey said. I picked up my purse. I'll see you at noon. They arrived at 12:17. Kelsey kissed the air beside my cheek. Eric gave me a quick hug. I looked behind them even though I knew no one else was coming. The hostess led us to a table near the windows. Kelsey looked around while we sat. This is lovely. I thought Brianna loved it. She does. When has she been here? Kelsey opened her menu. She's seen pictures of the ballroom, online. Eric took a sip of water. She likes the style, Mom. I'm trying to understand what she likes about it. The windows, Kelsey said. The terrace. The view. The grand ballroom doesn't open onto the terrace. Kelsey looked up. It doesn't? The smaller event room does. Oh, well, the pictures may have been from both. The server arrived before I could answer. Kelsey ordered salmon for Eric. He didn't object. After she left, Kelsey took out her phone. I saved some inspiration. She showed me photographs of flower arrangements, table settings, and folded napkins. Most were pale green and white. Brianna wants something natural, she said. What does Brianna's fiancé want? He doesn't care about flowers. What does he care about? The food, probably. What's his name? Kelsey's thumb stopped on the screen. Caleb. I had not known that. How long have they been together? Almost 3 years. And when did they get engaged? New Year's Eve. Eric rubbed his forehead. Mom, it isn't an interview. I'm asking about my granddaughter. Kelsey put her phone face down. This is what I meant about pressure. Brianna isn't here to feel it. No, but I am. The server brought our drinks. I waited until she walked away. Why do you need my membership? Kelsey's expression softened again. We don't need it. We're exploring options. Only a member can reserve the grand ballroom. That's what we understood. The member also accepts financial responsibility. We would never leave you with a bill. That isn't what the club's form would say. Eric leaned forward. We'd cover everything, Mom. Then why not choose a place you can reserve yourselves? Kelsey turned her water glass. Brianna has her heart set on something elegant. Has she told me that? She doesn't know we're asking yet. I sat back. You told me she loved Cumberland Ridge. She does, but she doesn't know you're asking me to sponsor it. We wanted to see if it was possible first. Eric reached across the table, though he didn't touch my hand. We didn't want to get her hopes up. I looked at him. Her hopes or mine? His hand returned to his lap. Lunch arrived. For a few minutes we ate without speaking. Kelsey finally said, this could be a fresh start. For whom? For everybody. I waited. She continued, you'd be part of the planning. There would be tastings and flowers and all those little decisions. With Brianna, of course. I looked at Eric. He nodded. I wanted to believe them. That's the plain truth. I pictured Brianna sitting across from me with fabric samples between us. I pictured learning what she did for work. I pictured her choosing between 2 desserts and laughing because neither mattered. None of that had happened. Still, I could see it. What date? I asked. Kelsey smiled. We're hoping for July. That's soon. I know. That's why we need to move. I folded my napkin beside my plate. I'll speak with the events manager. Kelsey reached for my hand. Thank you. It was the first time she had touched me all afternoon. On Monday, I called Cumberland Ridge. The events manager was Rachel Monroe. I had met her twice at club luncheons. She had a calm voice and the habit of repeating dates before writing them down. I'm asking about the grand ballroom, I said, for a family wedding reception. Are you thinking of sponsoring it? Possibly. She explained the basic arrangement. The ballroom was available on one Saturday in July because another event had moved. We can place a tentative hold, she said. The deposit is $2,000. It's non-refundable. And the remaining balance? For the current package, $18,000. I wrote both amounts in my notebook. When would I sign the authorization? Any time before 5 o'clock on April 30th. We would need it by then to keep the reservation, so the deposit holds the date until that deadline. Correct. And if I don't sign, the hold ends. I already knew sponsorship could be revoked before signing. That had always been part of membership. Still, I listened closely. Rachel continued, the authorization is what makes you responsible for the remaining balance. The deposit alone doesn't do that. I understand. Would you like to tour the ballroom before deciding? Yes. Bring the couple if you can. I'll try. I called Eric first. He answered from work. The ballroom has one July date open. That's great. I'm touring it Wednesday at 4. I'll tell Kelsey. Tell Brianna too. Sure. And Caleb. Right. Will you come? I might still be at work. I closed my notebook. Eric, does anyone getting married know about this? Of course they do. Kelsey said Brianna didn't know you were asking me. She knows they're looking at venues. That isn't the same. "Mom, I have to go into a meeting, then call me afterward." He didn't. Kelsey called that evening. "Wednesday is difficult for Brianna. What time works for her? She works until 5. Rachel can show us at 6. She has dinner plans. Thursday, Caleb works late. Friday, they're going out of town." I sat at Donald's desk with my calendar open. When can they come? I can take pictures for them. I've seen the ballroom, but I haven't. This reception isn't for you. That's unnecessary. It's all so true. Her voice cooled. "If you don't want to help, just say that. I want to speak with Brianna. You're tying the venue to a personal demand. I'm asking the bride whether she wants it. She does. Then she can tell me." Kelsey was silent. I thought she might hang up. Instead, she changed her tone. "I'll ask her to call you." "When?" "Tonight." I waited until 10:30. No one called. Wednesday afternoon, I drove to the club alone. Rachel met me outside the grand ballroom. She unlocked the double doors and turned on the lights. The room was empty except for stacked chairs. Afternoon light came through the tall windows. The carpet had a dark blue pattern. At one end, a portable dance floor was folded against the wall. "The room looks different when it's set," Rachel said. "I know." She showed me where the tables would go. She pointed out the side entrance vendors used and the area reserved for the wedding party. "Do you have an estimated guest count?" 120, according to Kelsey. "Bride's mother?" "Yes." "And the bride is Brianna?" "Yes." Rachel checked her tablet. "I've only spoken with Kelsey so far. When did she contact you?" "Early last week. That was before Kelsey called me." "What did she ask? Availability, package prices, and sponsorship rules. Did she mention me?" "She said a family member belonged here." I looked around the empty room. Kelsey had not called me to understand how the club worked. She already understood enough. She had called because she needed my name. That was the inconsistency I had come to confirm. Rachel didn't know anything was wrong. She kept explaining table sizes. I asked, "Has Brianna contacted you?" "No." "Has Eric?" "No." "Only Kelsey?" "So far." Rachel turned the tablet toward me. The available date appeared beside the words, "Tentative inquiry." "I can hold it until tomorrow without payment," she said. "After that, I have to release it." I stood there longer than I needed to. If I walked away, Kelsey would say I had refused the first chance to become part of the family. Eric would agree quietly. Brianna might hear that I had been offered a place and rejected it. If I paid, I would have something they needed. I hated that this made me feel hopeful. "Place the hold," I said. Rachel led me to her office. I paid the $2,000 deposit with a check. She printed the receipt and handed me the sponsoring member authorization. "You don't need to sign this today," she said, "but keep it somewhere safe." "I will." The remaining balance stays at $18,000 under this package. Any upgrades would require your approval. I folded the authorization once and placed it inside my purse. Rachel emailed the confirmation while I sat there. My deliberate move worked. The ballroom date was held. My name was now attached to the planning. The cost was printed beneath it. When I got home, I put the deposit receipt and unsigned authorization inside Donald's locked desk. I kept the key in my kitchen drawer. Then I called Kelsey. "The date is being held." She gasped. "Oh, Sandra, that's wonderful. I paid the deposit. We'll reimburse you." "When?" "As soon as Eric moves some money around." That was new. "You said you would cover everything." "We will. I just mean it may take a few weeks. The deposit is non-refundable." "I understand. The authorization deadline is April 30th at 5. That gives us plenty of time. It gives you time to include the people getting married." "Absolutely. I want Brianna at the next appointment. She will be. And Caleb, we'll make it work." The next morning, Kelsey sent an email with the subject reception team. The message thanked me for making Brianna's dream possible. It listed menu ideas, flower colors, and 3 possible photographers. Only 3 people were copied. Kelsey, Eric, and me. I replied to everyone. "Please add Brianna and Caleb." Kelsey answered within 4 minutes. "I'm collecting options first so they don't get overwhelmed. Once we narrow things down, I'll bring them in." I read the words several times. My payment had opened the ballroom. It had not opened the family. The next email arrived before breakfast. Kelsey had attached 3 menus and a list of questions. Which salad did I prefer? Did I think chicken was too ordinary? Would club members expect better wine? Could the ballroom accommodate a band instead of a disc jockey? I answered the questions I could. Then I added one of my own. When is Brianna available for the tasting? Kelsey replied near noon. I'm checking. That afternoon, Eric called. Thank you for doing this. You're welcome. Kelsey's excited, I can tell. She's good at planning things. She's certainly busy. He missed my meaning or chose to. She wants everything to be right for Brianna. What does Brianna want? A nice wedding. That could mean anything. I'm sure she'll tell us. When? Mom, I've asked one question for 4 months. When do I meet her? He became quiet. Then he said, You're helping with the reception now. It'll happen naturally. Nothing about this feels natural. Can't you enjoy being included? I looked at the menus spread across my table. Included in what? The planning. These are prices, Eric. They're menu choices, attached to prices. He sighed. We're trying. No, I'm trying. You're forwarding me work. That isn't fair. Then arrange lunch. I'll talk to Kelsey. The same circle again. I set down my pen. Don't talk to Kelsey. Talk to Brianna. She's Kelsey's daughter. She's your daughter, too. You went to court to make that true. His breathing changed. That's low. It's exact. He ended the call a minute later. I expected Kelsey to contact me. She didn't. Instead, she sent another menu. For the next 2 weeks, I became useful again. Kelsey asked me to photograph the club's table linens. She wanted measurements for the ballroom entrance. She asked whether candles were allowed and whether the bar could stay open past 10. I drove to Cumberland Ridge twice. The first time, Rachel showed me the linen samples. I arranged them on a table and took pictures with my phone. The second time, I measured the ballroom entrance because Kelsey had found a flower frame online. Is the florist coming to look? Rachel asked. I don't know. Has one been selected? I don't know that either. Rachel smiled politely. Who is coordinating the vendors? Kelsey. That makes sense. It did to Rachel. I carried the tape measure back to my car. It was raining and the bottom of my trousers got wet. I sat behind the wheel and sent Kelsey the measurements. She replied with a heart. That small red heart stayed on my screen while rain ran down the windshield. At home, I made a new rule for myself. I would answer 1 planning request each day, not 5, not every message as soon as it arrived. The first morning, Kelsey sent 4 questions before 9. I answered one at 10:30. She called at 11. Did you see my email? Yes. I need to confirm whether the club provides cake plates. I answered the question about the linens. What about the plates? I'll look tomorrow. The baker needs to know. Then ask Rachel. She said the sponsoring member should coordinate club equipment. That doesn't mean immediately. Kelsey paused. Are you upset about something? I'm protecting my time. This is your family's wedding. Yes. I thought you wanted to be involved. I want to be involved with Brianna. You will be. When? We're working on it. No, you're working on a reception. Her voice tightened. I don't understand why you keep separating the two. Because you do. She hung up without saying goodbye. That evening, Eric came to the house. He arrived just after 6 and stood on the front step with his hands in his coat pockets. Can I come in? You usually do. He followed me to the kitchen. I was making vegetable soup. I handed him a knife and pointed toward the carrots. He began chopping. His pieces were too large, the way they had always been. After a few minutes, he said, Kelsey thinks you're pulling back. I answered 1 question instead of 4. She's under pressure. From whom? The wedding. A wedding isn't a person. You know what I mean. I keep hearing that. He pushed the carrots into a pile. Are you still comfortable sponsoring the ballroom? There is no signed sponsorship yet. You paid the deposit. I paid for a tentative hold. He stopped chopping. Kelsey said it was reserved. It is held. The authorization is due at 5 on April 30th. What happens then? I either sign or I don't. He placed the knife flat on the board. You didn't tell us it could still fall through. I told Kelsey the deadline. But she thought signing was automatic. Why would she think that? Because you agreed to help. I agreed to place the hold. Mom, invitations are being designed. I turned down the burner. No one told me that. They're not printed yet. Good. He looked at me as if I had threatened something. What do you want? I want you to stop asking that like I've hidden it. I'm trying to understand the condition. The condition is respect. That isn't specific. Arrange a meeting with Brianna. He picked up the knife again, but he didn't cut anything. You know, Kelsey thinks you're using the venue to force a relationship. I asked before there was a venue. I know. Does Brianna know that? He looked at the carrots. No. Then the problem isn't my condition. I took the knife from his hand. You've cut enough. We ate soup at the kitchen table. Eric talked about work. I let him. He asked whether the roof still leaked above the back room. I said it had been repaired. For 10 minutes, we sounded like ourselves. Then his phone rang. He looked at the screen. You should answer, I said. It's Kelsey, I assumed. He answered on the 4th ring. Yeah, I'm still here. He listened. No, we haven't talked about that yet. I carried my bowl to the sink. Eric lowered his voice. I will. Just give me a minute. When he ended the call, he stayed seated. What haven't we talked about? He rubbed both palms over his knees. The bar package. What about it? Kelsey wants the upgraded one. How much? I don't know. Then why are you asking? She said Rachel sent you the numbers. She hasn't. Eric took out his phone. Kelsey told me it was only a small difference. Call her. Now? Yes. He dialed. Kelsey answered quickly enough that she must have been holding her phone. He put it on speaker. Hey, she said. Did you ask? Mom hasn't received the bar prices. A pause. I sent them. No, you didn't, I said. Kelsey's voice changed. Oh, I thought you were still in the other room. I'm at my kitchen table. Well, Rachel may have sent them directly. She didn't. It's not a big issue. The upgraded package has better wine and a longer service window. How much does it add? I don't have the sheet in front of me. Then send it. I'm not home. Eric looked at me. I asked, did you tell Rachel I approved it? No. Did you tell anyone else? It was just a discussion. With whom? The caterer. Who believes it's approved? No one believes anything. We're collecting options. Send me what you have. Kelsey exhaled. Fine. The email arrived while we were still on the phone. The upgrade added more than $3,000. Below the price, a note said the sponsoring member had expressed interest and final confirmation was expected. I turned the phone toward Eric. Did you know about this? He shook his head. Kelsey spoke quickly. That wording came from the caterer. Who told the caterer I was interested? I may have said you liked good wine. I don't drink wine. I meant that you value quality. Remove the upgrade. Can we at least discuss it with Brianna? Yes, put her on the phone. She isn't here. Then remove it until she is. Kelsey stopped speaking. Eric reached for his phone. I'll call you later. After he hung up, he stared at the table. I'm sorry. For which part? I didn't know she was doing that. Your not knowing has become expensive. He nodded once. Before he left, I walked him to Donald's desk. I unlocked the bottom drawer and showed him the unsigned authorization. I did not hand it to him. This stays here until I decide. He looked at the document. Kelsey thinks you're going to sign. Kelsey thinks many things without asking me. What would make you decide not to? I locked the drawer. More of this. He left without taking the leftover soup. The next morning, I called Rachel. Has anyone requested changes under my sponsorship? She checked the file. There's a note about the premium bar package. I didn't request that. I'm sorry. It hasn't been added to the contract. Who called? The catering contact entered it after speaking with Kelsey. Nothing changes without my direct written approval. Of course. I mean nothing. No upgraded food, no rentals, no extra hour. I'll add that instruction now. I heard her typing. Can you send it to everyone involved? Yes. Please copy Eric and Kelsey. Rachel sent the message before we ended the call. It stated that only I could approve changes affecting the ballroom package. It also stated that the authorization remained unsigned. That was my first real boundary. It worked. The bar upgrade disappeared from the estimate that afternoon. No charge was added. No argument could change it without my consent. Kelsey called at 4. "You embarrassed me in front of the caterer." I corrected the file. "You could have called me first." I did. "Last night, you made me look dishonest." I told Rachel I hadn't approved the upgrade. Exactly. I folded a dish towel and placed it in the drawer. Was that untrue? That isn't the point. It is the only point I discussed. You're turning a family celebration into a contract. The club did that when it attached my name to $18,000. We were going to reimburse you. You haven't reimbursed the deposit. We've had expenses. So have I. She lowered her voice. Brianna will be very disappointed if this falls apart. Does she know it can? She believes the ballroom is booked. Who told her that? We did. Did you tell her my sponsorship is required? We told her family had arranged it. Which family? Sandra, please. I stood still beside the kitchen drawer. What does she think I've done? I don't know. You just told me what she believes, you know? Kelsey's silence lasted several seconds. Then she said, "She thinks Eric and I found the venue." I looked toward my purse on the chair. My membership card remained zipped inside it. And the deposit? We didn't discuss money. You let her thank you. She hasn't thanked anyone yet. Then tell her before she does. This is not the time. It became the time when you used my name. Kelsey's voice hardened. If you make this complicated, you'll damage your chance with her. There it was. Not an invitation, a warning. What chance? To become part of her life. I held the phone away for a moment, then I brought it back. My relationship with Brianna is not an upgrade you control. You don't have a relationship with her. I know. She went silent again. I continued. Nothing else gets approved until Brianna is included in the conversation. That could delay everything. Then include her. The invitation order goes in next week, not with Cumberland Ridge printed on it. You can't be serious. I am. After we hung up, I emailed Rachel. Please do not provide final venue wording to any printer until I confirm the authorization. She answered that she understood. That practical win lasted less than an hour. At 5:12, Eric sent me a photograph of a cream-colored invitation proof. Cumberland Ridge Club was printed across the bottom in raised blue letters. Under the picture, he wrote one sentence. Kelsey already approved these yesterday. I called him. Have they been printed? I don't think so. Ask her. She's right here. Put me on speaker. Kelsey's voice came through. The printer has the order. Stop it. We already approved the proof. The ballroom isn't confirmed. You paid the deposit. I placed a hold. You never said we couldn't use the name. I said the authorization wasn't signed. The invitations have to go out. Then print them without the venue. That looks disorganized. It is disorganized. She inhaled sharply. Brianna has approved this design. Did she approve the ballroom? Yes. After you told her I was sponsoring it? Kelsey didn't answer. I asked again. Does she know my membership is holding the date? She knows the venue is being handled by family. That isn't what I asked. Eric interrupted. Mom, if we stop the order, we lose the printing deposit. How much? $600. Who paid it? We did. Then losing it is your decision. Kelsey's voice rose. You'd let us throw away $600? You approved a venue you don't control. We thought we could trust you. I looked toward Donald's desk. You can trust me to read before I sign. That isn't trust. It is at Cumberland Ridge. Eric said, Can everybody just slow down? No, Kelsey said. The wedding is in July. Then call the printer, I said. She ended the call. I did not know whether she stopped the order. The next morning, I printed Eric's photograph of the invitation. The blue lettering came out darker than it looked on his phone. I put it in a folder and drove to the club. Rachel was setting place cards on a table outside the dining room. She looked up when I approached. Do you have a minute? Of course. I showed her the invitation proof. Did the club approve this wording? She examined it. We don't approve private invitation designs. Can they print the club's name before I sign? They can print anything they choose. It doesn't confirm the reservation. What happens if they mail these and I don't sign? The guests would have an invitation to a room the family no longer has access to. She said it plainly. No judgment. I slipped the proof back into the folder. Is that common? No. What would you advise? I can't advise you about family decisions. As the events manager, I'd say they should not treat a tentative hold as final. Have you told Kelsey that? It's in the email confirmation. Has she asked you to call it final? Rachel hesitated. She asked whether we could remove the word tentative from the planning calendar. What did you say? Not until the authorization is signed. I nodded. That word stays. Absolutely. Can I see the current schedule? Rachel carried her tablet into her office. She opened the ballroom file and turned the screen toward me. The July date appeared at the top. Beneath it were appointments, payment dates, and vendor notes. A menu tasting was scheduled for the second Saturday in March. 5 attendees were listed: Brianna, Caleb, Eric, Kelsey. Caterer. My name was not there. Who scheduled the tasting? Kelsey. When? Last Friday. Was I copied? Rachel checked. No. Kelsey said she was coordinating the family. I looked at the list again. Add me. Rachel looked slightly uncomfortable. I can send her a note. You don't need to ask her. I'm the sponsoring member. That's correct. Then add me. She typed my name. The number of attendees changed from 5 to 6. Would you like the calendar invitation? Yes. Send it to everyone. Rachel sent it while I sat across from her. A minute later, my phone chimed. That was the useful result I needed. I had recovered one small piece of access. I was going to the tasting attached to my name. The exposure came quickly. Kelsey called before I reached the parking lot. Why did Rachel add you to the tasting? Because I asked her to. That appointment is for the couple and parents. I'm Eric's mother. You know what I mean. I do now. She stopped speaking. I unlocked my car but did not get in. You wanted me involved in menu decisions. I wanted your guidance. The tasting only allows a limited number. It allowed 6 when Rachel added me. The caterer counts. So does the sponsor. This is exactly the kind of thing that makes Brianna uncomfortable. Did she say that? She doesn't like family tension. Does she know I'm attending? She just got the calendar invitation. Good. Kelsey's voice dropped. You went around me. I went to the club where my name is holding a room. I'm planning my daughter's wedding, and I'm carrying the balance. No one asked you to carry it. You asked me to sponsor it. That's different. Not on the form. She made a frustrated sound. If you turn the tasting into a confrontation, I'll cancel it. I'm going to taste food. You'll ask questions. Yes. This is not the place to discuss your grievances. My name missing from the appointment wasn't a grievance. It was a fact. Kelsey hung up. I sat in my car and looked at the invitation on my phone. Brianna's email address was hidden by the calendar system. All I could see was her name. For a few seconds, I considered replying to the whole group. I could have written one sentence. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Instead, I put the phone in my purse. I still believed direct contact should come with Eric's honesty. I didn't want Brianna receiving a strange message without context. That choice felt respectful then. Later, I understood how useful my silence was to other people. That afternoon, Eric came by without calling. I was in the back room sorting boxes for a donation pickup. Donald's winter coats were in one. I had kept 3 too long. Eric stood in the doorway. Kelsey's upset. I know. She thinks you're taking over. I lifted another coat from the box. I added myself to 1 meal. It's more than that. What else did I take over? You called Rachel. I'm allowed to call Rachel. You made her send that email. I asked her to copy the people involved. Kelsey felt corrected in front of everyone. Was the correction accurate? He stepped into the room and picked up Donald's brown coat. You're donating this? Yes. He wore it to my graduation. He also wore it to rake leaves. Eric ran his thumb along the cuff. "Can I have it?" "If you'll wear it." "I will." I folded it and handed it to him. He held the coat against his chest. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I asked, "What did Brianna say about the tasting?" "She asked Kelsey who added you. What did Kelsey tell her? That you wanted to be involved? Did that sound strange to Brianna?" "I don't know. What did you say?" "I wasn't there." "You're never there when the important sentence happens." He put the coat over his arm. "That's not fair. Call her now." "Who?" "Brianna." He looked toward the hall. What would I say? Tell her I paid the deposit. Tell her I'm sponsoring the room. Tell her I've asked to meet her since October. I'm not doing that in the middle of an argument. We're speaking quietly. You know what I mean. I lowered myself onto a box. Yes, I always know what you mean. That's how you avoid saying it. He started to leave. I said, "Why did you come?" He turned around. "To ask you not to attend the tasting." There it was. Not concern, not confusion. An errand. Did Kelsey send you? She thought it would be better coming from me. Better for whom? Mom, please. No. He looked down at Donald's coat. If you go, Brianna may not. Did Brianna say that? Kelsey thinks she might feel awkward. Then Kelsey can explain why. You're forcing a choice. I'm refusing to disappear. He gripped the coat. What if this ruins your chance to know her? I stood. What chance, Eric? The one Kelsey keeps promising after I finish another task. That isn't what's happening. Then show me something different. He had no answer. I walked him to the front door. Keep the coat, I said. The answer about the tasting is still no. He left. On the second Saturday in March, I arrived at Cumberland Ridge 10 minutes early. Rachel had prepared a small tasting table in a private dining room. 6 water glasses stood beside 6 place settings. I put my purse under my chair. My membership card remained zipped inside it. At 11, the caterer brought out small dishes of salad and chicken. At 11:05, nobody else had arrived. Rachel checked the hallway. Would you like me to call Kelsey? I'll call Eric, he answered in a whisper. Where are you? At the tasting. A pause. We rescheduled. No, you didn't, Kelsey emailed the caterer. I'm sitting with the caterer. He lowered his voice further. We decided to taste at another place today. Who is we? All of us. Brianna and Caleb are with you? Yes. Where? Mom, what restaurant? Kelsey doesn't want this to become a scene. I'm sitting beside 6 glasses in an empty room. I'm sorry. Does Brianna know I'm there? He didn't answer. Eric. No. The caterer adjusted one of the plates. Rachel looked away. I said, tell her. Not today. Why? Because she's excited. We're having a good day. And the truth would spoil it? That's not what I said. It's what you protected. I ended the call. Rachel offered to box the food. No, I said. We're here. I asked the caterer to sit. Rachel joined us. The 3 of us tasted every dish. The chicken was dry, the salad was good, the potatoes needed salt. I wrote notes on the menu sheet. I did the work they had tried to leave behind. Before I left, I asked Rachel for a copy of every club document in the file. She printed the current estimate, the schedule, and the correspondence connected to the hold. The file was thin. Are there vendor contracts somewhere else? I asked. Not with the club. Kelsey keeps referring to photographers, flowers, and a baker. She may be managing those separately. Would those vendors believe the ballroom is confirmed? Possibly, if that's what they were told. I placed the papers in my folder. On the drive home, my objective changed. I was no longer trying to secure a chair at a tasting. I needed to know what had been promised under my name. At home, I emailed Kelsey and copied Eric. Please send me the complete current reception file, including every vendor estimate, schedule, seating draft, photography plan, and message that identifies Cumberland Ridge or me as sponsor. I will not approve further planning until I have reviewed it. Kelsey called twice. I let both calls ring. Then her email arrived. Why are you investigating us? I typed my answer carefully. Because I'm being asked to guarantee what you won't let me see. Kelsey responded the next morning with 4 attachments. One was the invitation proof. One was the club estimate I already had. The other 2 were flower photographs. I wrote back, "This is not the complete file." She called immediately. "What else could you possibly need?" "The vendor estimates. I sent the flowers. Those are pictures." "The florist hasn't finalized anything." "The photographer?" "Still comparing packages." "The baker?" "Same." "The seating draft? Why do you need seating this early? Because I asked for the current file." "You're acting like an auditor." "I'm acting like the person whose name is on the room." "It's a family wedding, Sandra." "Then show me the family plan." She made a sound between a laugh and a sigh. "You're looking for reasons to be offended. I don't need to look very far. I knew you'd say that. Send the file." "I sent what matters." "No, you sent what you wanted me to see." She ended the call. An hour later, Eric called from work. "Kelsey says you're demanding private wedding documents." "There are no private vendor documents attached to my money." "Not everything is attached to your money." "Then she can remove anything that isn't." "She's trying to plan a beautiful day for Brianna. She planned a second tasting to avoid me. That was a mistake. A mistake needs correction." "What correction do you want?" "The full file." "Why?" "Because a caterer was told I wanted an upgrade. Invitations were approved before I signed. A tasting was moved without telling me. I need to know what else has been promised." He was quiet, then he said, "It sounds worse when you list it like that. It happened in that order. No one is trying to take advantage of you. That sentence would mean more if anyone had repaid the deposit." "We will." "When?" "I'm waiting on a work bonus." "That was the first time I heard about a bonus." "Kelsey said you were moving money around." "That too." "Which is true?" "Both." I took a pen from the cup on Donald's desk. "Do you have the $2,000? "Not today." "Do you have the remaining $18,000? "We'll have it before the wedding. The balance is my responsibility once I sign." "We know." "No, Eric. You know I have enough to cover it." "That's different." He lowered his voice. "Dad left you comfortable." I stopped moving the pen. "Your father did not leave money so you could use it as an answer." "I didn't mean it that way." "How did you mean it?" "I just mean you're not at risk of missing a mortgage payment. That doesn't make the money yours." "I know that." "Then stop calculating what I can afford to lose." He whispered, "I'm not." But he was. I had been doing it too. I had looked at the deposit as the price of an opening. I had told myself $2,000 was manageable. I had never said that aloud because it sounded exactly as wrong as it was. "I want the complete file by tomorrow," I said. "What happens if we don't send it?" "I don't consider the sponsorship." "You already considered it. I paid for time to consider it." He ended the call more politely than Kelsey had. "Okay, I'll talk to her." The next day passed without an email. I went to the grocery store. I changed the sheets. I cleaned the silver coffee service Donald's mother gave us, though I hadn't used it in years. At 4, I checked my inbox. Nothing. At 5:30, Kelsey sent a message asking whether I preferred round tables or long ones. I did not answer. At 7, she asked whether I had contacted the club about cake plates. I did not answer that either. Just after 9, another email arrived. The subject said, "Since you insist." Her message was one sentence. "This is the current working information, but many details are unfinished and should not be taken personally." The attachment was called Complete Vendor Packet. I opened it. There were 36 pages. Kelsey had meant to forward a shorter vendor summary. I knew that because her original message was still beneath hers. It said, "Kelsey, attached are the master packet and the simplified family copy you requested." She had sent me the master packet. I printed every page. The printer worked slowly. Each sheet slid into the tray while I stood beside Donald's desk. The first page showed Brianna and Caleb's names, the July date, and Cumberland Ridge Club. The second page listed primary contacts. Kelsey was the family coordinator. Eric was the secondary contact. I was listed beneath a separate line, financial sponsor and sponsoring member. There was no family relationship beside my name, no mother of adoptive father, no grandmother, just the function attached to the bill. I kept reading. The menu pages showed the upgraded bar package in gray. marked pending sponsor approval. The flower frame Kelsey asked me to measure was listed as approved by family. The photographer had a timeline. The baker had delivery instructions. Then I reached the seating draft. The family table had 10 seats. Brianna and Caleb were in the center. Eric and Kelsey were beside them. Caleb's parents were across from them. 2 more seats were labeled for Brianna's biological grandmothers. I read those labels twice. I was not at the family table. I checked the next page. It listed guest tables. My name wasn't there either. Maybe the seating was incomplete. Kelsey had warned me not to take it personally. I kept going. The photography page had a list of required family pictures. Brianna with Kelsey. Brianna with Eric. Brianna with Kelsey and Eric. Brianna with both biological grandmothers. Brianna with all parents and grandmothers. I wasn't included. The last photograph before the couple portraits was labeled Complete Immediate Family. My name wasn't there. I turned the page. The reception introduction order listed the parents, then the 2 grandmothers. The notes told the announcer how each person should be introduced. I wasn't mentioned. The only place Sandra Powell appeared in 36 pages was on the contact sheet, financial sponsor and sponsoring member. I sat at the desk with the pages spread around me. The room was quiet except for the printer cooling. I had spent months asking to meet Brianna. Kelsey had called me extended family. Eric had told me to wait. Then they had asked for my membership and my money. I believed the planning would bring me closer. Their own plan showed exactly where they intended to put me, nowhere anyone could see. I opened the locked drawer. The deposit receipt lay on top of the unsigned authorization. $2,000 non-refundable. I touched the receipt. That money was gone whether I signed or not. I had paid it myself. No one had forced my hand. That was the concrete cost. It wasn't only the amount, it was admitting why I had paid it. I had tried to purchase a natural place in my own family without calling it that. I took the packet to the kitchen and made tea. I carried the mug back, but I didn't drink. At 10:15, I called Eric. He answered sleepily. "Mom, is everything okay?" I received the vendor packet. He became awake at once. "The one Kelsey sent?" "Yes." "She said it was a draft. Have you seen it? Parts of it? Have you seen the seating page?" Silence. "Eric?" "Yes." "Where am I sitting?" "It isn't final. We haven't placed everybody. Both grandmothers have seats. They're Brianna's biological grandmothers. I can read." That came out wrong. No. It came out clearly. He said nothing. I turned to the photography page. "Have you seen the picture list?" "I don't remember." "Do you want me to read it?" "No." "Why not?" "Because I know where this is going." "I don't." He took a breath. Kelsey thought formal family pictures might feel complicated. For whom? For Brianna. Did Brianna say that? I don't know. Then who is complicated by my face? "Mom, don't say it like that. How should I say it?" "It's one draft. We can add you." "Were you going to?" "Yes." "When?" "Before the wedding." "After I signed?" He didn't answer. I looked at his name on the contact sheet. "You knew I was listed only as financial sponsor. I saw it. Did you correct it?" "No." "Why?" "I didn't think that label mattered. It's the only place I exist." "That isn't true." "Show me another page." He couldn't. The silence between us lasted long enough for my tea to stop steaming. Finally, he said, "What do you want us to change?" That question used to be what I wanted. A seat, a photograph, an introduction, a lunch. If he had asked me a month earlier, I would have given him a list. Now every item felt spoiled. I don't want Kelsey adding me because I found the packet. What does that mean? It means I'm done earning corrections. So what are you saying? I'm saying I will not sign this plan. His voice sharpened. You're canceling the reception. I said I will not sign this plan. We can revise it. That doesn't revise why it existed. It was unfinished. It was finished enough to order invitations. Kelsey made a mistake sending that file. The mistake was letting me see it? That isn't what I meant. It's what happened. He got out of bed. I heard movement and then a door close. "Mom, please don't decide tonight. I decided something tonight." What? I'm not trying to buy a meeting anymore. I never asked you to. You accepted every payment and every task while keeping her away. That was Kelsey. You carried her message to my house. He was quiet. I continued. If I ever know Brianna, it cannot begin with $18,000 changing hands. What about the deposit? I've lost it. We said we'd repay you. You haven't. I will. That won't make me sign. Kelsey's voice came through the background. What is she saying? Eric lowered the phone. I heard him answer, then Kelsey took it. This packet is not final, I know. We can change the seating. I know. And the pictures, I know. Then why are you doing this? Because changing the pages won't change what you planned when you thought I couldn't see them. You asked to be involved. I was involved. I measured a doorway. You're being unfair. I paid for that right. She began crying. Not loudly. Her voice shook, and she took careful breaths. Brianna is finally getting the reception she wants. If you pull back now, you'll hurt her. Does she know I paid the deposit? No. Does she know I requested the tasting? No. Does she know I've asked to meet her? Kelsey stopped crying for 1 second. Then she said, This isn't about you. I looked at the packet. That's the first thing we agree on. I ended the call. I removed every menu sheet from my kitchen table. I put the linen photographs in the recycling bin. I unplugged the tape measure from the flower notes and returned it to the utility drawer. Then I placed the complete vendor packet inside Donald's locked desk with the receipt and unsigned authorization. My goal was no longer to get my name added. My goal was to stop lending it to the version they had built. The next morning, I took the packet back out. I removed 3 pages and scanned them. One showed the premium bar note. One showed the flower installation marked approved. The third listed Cumberland Ridge as confirmed. I emailed them to Rachel. Please place a hold on all vendor access, upgrades, deliveries, and site appointments. Nothing is approved unless I send written consent. The ballroom must remain listed as tentative. Rachel called within 20 minutes. I received your message. Can you do that? Yes. The sponsorship is still pending. Has anyone scheduled site access? She checked. There's a florist walkthrough next Thursday. Who approved it? Kelsey requested it. Cancel it. I can tell the florist the appointment is not authorized. Please do. Should I copy Kelsey? Yes. Copy Eric too. Rachel paused. Are you considering withdrawing the hold? I'm considering everything. All right. I'm not asking you to take sides. I understand. I only want the file to match the facts. That's my responsibility. She sent the email while we were still speaking. The florist walkthrough was canceled. The premium bar note was removed. The file now showed pending member authorization in red letters. My new strategy worked once, in a way everyone could see. I had stopped asking Kelsey to behave differently. I had changed what she was allowed to do with my name. At 11, she called. I let it ring. At 11:05, she called again. At 11:10, Eric called. I answered him. Why did you cancel the florist? I canceled access to the club. The florist charges a fee for rescheduling. Then Kelsey should not schedule appointments she can't authorize. She thought it was part of the hold. She knows it isn't. She says you never explained that. I explained it last night. You were angry. The rule doesn't change with my tone. He went quiet. I folded the scanned pages and returned them to the packet. Mom, what are you doing? Protecting my membership. From us? From promises I didn't make. No one is trying to hurt your membership. Then stop using it without permission. We're trying to keep the wedding moving. You can. Choose a venue you can reserve. That isn't realistic now. Why? The invitations. Did you stop the order? He didn't answer. Eric? They were already printing. I closed my eyes. How many? 100. And they say Cumberland Ridge? Yes. You let her print them after I said not to. The deposit was non-refundable. So you protected $600 by risking the whole reception. We assumed you'd calm down. I looked at Donald's old clock on the desk. It had lost 3 minutes again. This is me calm. You know what I mean? Yes. You expected me to become easier. That's not fair. Have the invitations been mailed? Some. How many? Kelsey dropped off the first group yesterday. After I told her the room wasn't confirmed, she said they had to go. I wrote the date in my notebook. Tell her not to mail another one. We can't send half. You can't promise a ballroom you don't have. We do have it. No, I have a tentative hold. You're really going to do this over a seating chart? There was the version he had accepted. This is not over a seating chart. That's when everything changed. No, that's when I learned what had already changed. He sighed. What do you want me to tell people? The truth. What truth? That the venue is tentative until the sponsoring member signs. That makes us look irresponsible. You printed invitations before the venue was final. We thought it was final. You thought I had no choice. He didn't deny it. After we hung up, I opened a fresh page in my notebook. Invitations printed after warning. Some mailed. Eric says dispute is over seating chart. Corrected him. Then I drew a line beneath it. I was not building a case for a court. There would be no court. I wrote because every conversation came back to me changed. A promise became an assumption. A warning became anger. A complete packet became an unfinished draft. Writing kept the facts from moving. That afternoon, I drove to the post office, the pharmacy, and the grocery store. I bought soup vegetables and a loaf of rye bread. At home, I found a voicemail from a number I recognized but did not have saved. It was Kelsey's mother. Sandra, this is Kelsey's mom. Please call me. I think we need to discuss what's happening with Brianna's reception. I put away the groceries before returning the call. She answered with, "Thank you." For what? For calling back. I assumed it was important. It is. Kelsey is beside herself. I'm sorry to hear that. She says you may cancel the ballroom. I haven't signed for the ballroom. I don't understand all the club details. Then Kelsey should explain them. She says you offered this as a gift. I offered to place a tentative hold. That sounds like the same thing. It costs $18,000 more to become the same thing. She became quiet. I didn't realize the amount. I didn't expect you to. She told us you were paying for the reception. Did she? Yes. I opened my notebook. When did she say that? At dinner after the engagement. That dinner happened before Kelsey asked me about the club. What exactly did she say? That Eric's mother belonged to Cumberland Ridge and wanted to host the reception there. I sat down. I had not been asked yet. Well, perhaps they knew you'd be happy to do it. They knew I wanted to meet Brianna. That's another issue. It should be. She softened her voice. Sandra, I know family adjustments are difficult. What adjustment? Eric adopting Brianna. New roles. New expectations. What expectation did I place on you? None. Then why are you calling? Kelsey asked me to help you see what this is doing to Brianna. What does Brianna know? She knows there's trouble with the venue. Does she know why? She was told you became unhappy with the family seating. I placed my pen flat. Did she tell you that herself? No, Kelsey did. Then you don't know what Brianna knows. I'm sure her mother understands. Her mother told you I offered a gift before speaking to me. That may have been excitement. It became a printed invitation. She exhaled slowly. Can't you overlook the mistake? Which one? The seating. This is not about a chair. Then what is it about? My name being used for a promise I wasn't allowed to see. Her tone sharpened. You're willing to disappoint a bride because you feel disrespected. I'm unwilling to sign for $18,000 while being treated as a problem. She has 2 grandmothers who've known her all her life. I stood and walked to the window. I have never asked either woman to move. That's not what I meant. It's where the sentence went. I only mean those relationships are established, and mine has been prevented. You can build one after the wedding. Why not before? Kelsey says Brianna needs space. Brianna has never said that to me. You haven't spoken to her. Exactly. Neither of us spoke for several seconds. Then she said, I don't want this to become ugly. Then don't carry messages based on half the facts. I'm trying to help. Tell Kelsey I won't discuss my sponsorship through another person. Her voice cooled. I see. I hope you do. I ended the call. The emissary had given me one useful piece of information. Kelsey had presented the ballroom as my gift before she ever asked me. That meant the pressure wasn't accidental. She had made a promise first and built my consent underneath it later. I added that to the notebook. At 6, Kelsey sent a long text. My mother called me in tears. I cannot believe you discussed our finances and private planning with her. You are turning everyone against us, I replied. She called me. She said, you told the family I offered the reception before you asked me. The typing dots appeared at once. Then they stopped. Eric called 20 minutes later. Why are you attacking Kelsey's mother? I answered her questions. She said you interrogated her. I asked when Kelsey promised my gift. It wasn't a promise. She told them I wanted to host. That was the plan. Whose plan? Ours. Not mine. You paid the deposit. After Kelsey said this would bring me into planning with Brianna. It was going to. Then why was I removed from the tasting? You weren't removed. They scheduled another one. I let the silence sit. He corrected himself. I know. That was wrong. It was deliberate. Kelsey panicked. She planned a meal. She didn't flee a fire. Can you please stop making every word sound terrible? I'm repeating what happened. He lowered his voice. If you keep correcting people like this, the whole family will hear. I'm not afraid of accurate information. Do you want Brianna hearing all of it? Yes. His breath caught. That was new. Until then, I had been afraid the truth would cost me a relationship I didn't have. Kelsey had used that fear carefully. Every objection could be described as pressure. Every silence could be filled with her version. I wasn't chasing Brianna anymore. I wasn't going around Eric either. I was protecting my name and waiting for a setting where no one could translate me. I won't contact her behind you, I said, but I won't help you mislead her. We're not misleading her. She thinks you found the venue. We did, with my membership. She knows family helped. She doesn't know which family. Why does credit matter so much? It didn't until you hid the cost and displayed the gift. He made a frustrated sound. I can't do this tonight. Then don't. After the call, I made soup. I ate one bowl at the kitchen table and froze the rest in small containers. The next morning, I sent one email to Eric and Kelsey. I will not discuss meeting Brianna as a condition of sponsorship again. Do not promise access to her in exchange for my signature. Do not represent Cumberland Ridge as confirmed. Do not authorize vendors under my name. I will decide about the authorization after reviewing the final facts. Kelsey answered first. So now you're refusing to meet her, I replied. No, I'm refusing to pay for the meeting. Eric did not respond. Later that afternoon, Rachel forwarded me a request from the florist. Kelsey had tried to reschedule the walkthrough under Eric's name. Rachel's note was brief. I declined access because neither Kelsey nor Eric is the sponsoring member. I thanked her. That was the second time the strategy worked. It was also the moment Kelsey understood exactly what she had to overcome. At 7 that evening, Eric sent me another photograph. This one showed the unsigned authorization lying on Kelsey's kitchen table. Under it, he wrote, "We printed a copy. Can we come by tomorrow and finish this?" I replied, "You can come at 10. They arrived at 9:45. Kelsey carried a flat white box. Eric held the copied authorization in a clear folder. "I brought pastries," Kelsey said. I moved aside so they could enter. She placed the box on the kitchen table. There were 4 pastries inside, though only 3 of us were there. "We thought we could start fresh," she said. Eric sat across from me. He placed the folder between us. I did not touch it. Kelsey opened her phone. We revised everything. She showed me a seating chart. My name had been added to the family table. It sat at the far end beside one of Brianna's grandmothers. "You found a seat," I said. "We made one. Who lost it?" "No one." We adjusted the table. She swiped to the next page. The photography list now included Sandra with family. Another line said Brianna with Grandma Sandra. I looked at that one. Did Brianna approve this? She doesn't need to approve every photograph. She needs to approve what she calls me. It's just wording. It's her relationship. Kelsey locked the screen. "You said you wanted to be included." I wanted to be known. This is how that starts. No, this is how a packet gets corrected. Eric opened the folder and slid the copied authorization toward me. We can keep working on the details. After I sign. Signing would let everyone relax, especially you. Yes, Mom, especially us. He looked tired. His shirt was wrinkled at the collar. For a moment, I wanted to give him coffee and tell him we could talk later. That was the old pattern. I stayed seated. Has Brianna been told why the seating changed? Kelsey answered. She doesn't need to be dragged into this. Then she still doesn't know I asked to meet her. We're trying to protect her wedding. From me? From conflict. Eric placed a pen beside the form. Can you sign now and we'll arrange dinner next week? With Brianna? Yes. I looked at him. Did you ask her? I will. That means no. I'm telling you I'll make it happen. You've been telling me that since October. This time is different because the form is on my table. Kelsey leaned forward. We can have dinner Sunday. Does Brianna know? She will. Does she know you're here? Kelsey pressed her lips together. No. Then you didn't come to repair anything. You came to get a signature before she sees the damage. That is not fair. Why isn't she sitting here? She's working. It's Saturday. She sometimes works Saturdays. Sometimes? Kelsey's voice rose. You don't know her schedule. That has been your answer for 6 months. Eric reached for the pen. Let's not do this. I pushed the pen back toward him. I'm not signing today. His hand stopped. When will you sign? I haven't decided that I will. Kelsey stared at me. You said you wouldn't sign the old plan. This is revised. You changed the pages after I found them. What else could we do? Tell the truth. To whom? Start with Brianna. She thinks you're making the venue difficult because you feel excluded. I was excluded. We fixed that. Did you tell her? No. Then you fixed nothing she can see. Kelsey stood. I knew this wasn't about a seat. I told you it wasn't. It's about control. I looked at the copied authorization. Yes, control of my name belongs to me. You want us to beg. No. You want Brianna to feel guilty. No. You want to punish Eric for marrying me. Eric said, Kelsey? She ignored him. You never accepted that his life changed. I attended your wedding. I welcomed you into my home. You judged everything I did. I noticed what happened. You resent that he has another family. He doesn't need one family to erase another. She picked up the white pastry box. Then she put it back down. If you don't sign, people are going to know why the reception moved. Tell them accurately. They'll know you backed out after we added you to the family table. Will they know I saw the earlier packet? You weren't supposed to see that. The room went still. Eric looked at her. Kelsey realized what she had said. It wasn't ready to be shared. It was complete enough to guide vendors. It was a working file. You asked me to guarantee work you hid. She folded her arms. You are twisting this. No, I printed it. Eric rubbed both hands over his face. Can we please take an hour? You can take until April 30th, I said. The deadline remains 5 o'clock. Kelsey stared at me. So you're holding the wedding hostage. I'm holding an unsigned form. It's the same thing. No, your invitations made it the same thing. She picked up her purse. If Brianna learns all this, she'll want nothing to do with you. That was the threat she had been saving. It landed exactly where she meant it to. I looked down at the table. A small piece of sugar had fallen from one pastry onto the wood. Eric said, She doesn't mean that. Kelsey did not take it back. I brushed the sugar onto my fingertip. If Brianna wants nothing to do with me after hearing the truth, I'll accept her decision. She'll hear our truth, too. She should. Kelsey walked toward the front door. Eric remained seated. Mom, please. I'm not stopping you from leaving. I don't want to leave like this. Then stay and tell me why you saw the original packet without correcting it. He looked at the clear folder. I thought Kelsey would fix it. When? Later. Before or after I signed? I don't know. Yes, you do. He stood and took the folder. You're making me choose. I'm asking you to act against my wife, for your mother. That's still against my wife. I looked at him, only because she made it so. He followed Kelsey out. The white box remained on the table. I threw the pastries away. At noon, my phone began chiming. Kelsey had posted a message with a photograph of Brianna and Caleb. It appeared on the page they were using for wedding updates. We are heartbroken to share that our reception venue may be changing. A family member who offered to sponsor Cumberland Ridge has decided not to complete the agreement after concerns about her place in the seating and photographs. We revised everything to include her fully, but she is still withholding approval. We are doing our best to protect Brianna from unnecessary family conflict. Below the message, Kelsey attached the revised seating chart. My name was visible at the family table. She did not attach the original. She did not mention the tasting they moved. She did not mention the $2,000. She did not mention that the authorization had never been signed. Comments appeared beneath it. Most were sympathetic to Brianna. Some asked whether the venue had been paid for. One person said family should put differences aside for a wedding. Then Kelsey answered a question publicly. The ballroom can only be reserved through her club membership. Invitations have already been mailed, so we are praying she honors her promise. I took screenshots. That sentence hurt her later. At the time, it hurt me. A club friend sent me the post. Is this about you? I answered. Yes. The reservation is tentative, and I have not signed the sponsorship. She replied. That isn't how the post reads. I knew. By 2, Kelsey's message had been shared several times. People I barely knew could see my first name in the revised seating chart. They could see me described as someone holding a wedding over a chair and a photograph. I could have posted the original packet. I could have shown the contact page. I could have shown the empty picture list. I could have shown the family table before my name appeared. My finger rested over the button. If I posted it, Brianna would learn everything through an online argument. Her wedding page would become the place where strangers decided which woman was telling the truth. I didn't want that, so I paid another cost. I let the false version stand. I saved every screenshot and put my phone face down. At 3, Eric called. Did you see the post? Yes. I told her to take it down. Did she? Not yet. Then you haven't told her hard enough. She's upset. So am I. She feels like you forced her to explain. She chose what to explain. People were asking why the venue wasn't final, because she mailed invitations to a tentative room. Can you comment that we're working it out? No. It would calm people down. It would support her version. Then post your side. Not like this. He was quiet. Why not? Because Brianna deserves to hear it without comments underneath. That sounds reasonable. Then tell her. I will. When? He didn't answer. I asked, did you know Kelsey was posting? No. Did you know she was attaching the revised chart? No. What are you going to do? I asked her to remove it. That's a request. What do you want me to do? Take her phone? I want you to say publicly that the venue was never finalized. He hesitated. If I do that, it makes us look foolish. You were foolish. That's easy for you to say. No, it's expensive for me to say. He lowered his voice. Mom, if this reception falls apart, I don't know what happens between us. There was the real loss, not a threat from Kelsey, a choice from my son. I gripped the edge of the desk. Are you saying you won't speak to me? I'm saying I don't know. You know enough to warn me. I'm trying to save this. Which part? The wedding. My marriage. You and me. All of it. You cannot save all of it by spending my consent. He breathed into the phone. I need you to help me. I have helped you. One more time. That has been the price every time. He didn't speak. Then he said, I'm sorry. The call ended. At 4:30, Kelsey removed the original post. The shares remained. So did the screenshots. She replaced it with a shorter message. We are handling a private family matter and will update guests if the venue changes. That did not correct anything. That evening, I opened the locked desk. I placed the copied screenshots beside the complete vendor packet. I took out the deposit receipt and looked at the amount again. $2,000. I could still sign and preserve the date. I could protect my reputation by doing what everyone expected. Eric would keep calling. Kelsey would say the misunderstanding was over. Brianna might meet me after the wedding, or she might not. The easier path was expensive. The harder one cost exactly the same deposit, plus whatever remained of my son. I put the receipt back. Then I took out the unsigned authorization and laid it flat on the desk. I did not sign it. The next morning, I would ask Rachel to tell me exactly what that refusal would do. Rachel answered at 8:30. "I need to ask you very specific questions," I said. "Would you rather come in?" "Yes, I can see you at 10. I placed the unsigned authorization in its folder. I added the deposit receipt and the club correspondence. The complete vendor packet stayed locked in the desk. At Cumberland Ridge, Rachel closed her office door. I put the folder on her desk. "If I withdraw my sponsorship before the deadline, what happens?" She did not answer from memory. She opened the ballroom file and read the status. "The tentative hold is released. Immediately?" "Yes." "Can Eric and Kelsey keep the date?" "Not under your membership. What if they offer to pay the full balance?" "They're not members. Payment doesn't replace the sponsoring member authorization. Could another member take over? Another member could request a new reservation. They could not assume your hold automatically. Would the July date remain available? Once released, it returns to the club schedule. So no promise. No promise." I pointed to the receipt. "What happens to the $2,000? The club retains it, even if I withdraw?" "Yes. The deposit is non-refundable, and the remaining $18,000, you would owe none of it because you never signed the authorization." "What about the vendors? Those are separate arrangements made by the family. The club is not responsible for them. Could their florist or caterer claim I approved something?" "Not through this agreement. We have your written instruction that you approve no changes." I sat back. The uncertainty was gone. My membership opened the room. My unsigned authorization kept that opening temporary. If I withdrew, the deposit stayed with the club, the hold ended, and the remaining balance never became mine. No hidden penalty, no transfer, no quiet way for them to keep the date through my name. Rachel folded her hands. "Do you want me to release it now?" I looked at the authorization. "Not today." "All right. When is the next time everyone is expected here?" She checked the schedule. "The public wedding showcase on April 30th. It runs from 2 until 5. I knew about the showcase. Cumberland Ridge held one every spring. Florists set sample tables in the grand ballroom. The kitchen offered small menu portions. Couples walked through with family members and vendors. Rachel continued. "Kelsey asked for a final planning table. She said the couple and both families would attend." "Both families?" "That's what she wrote." "Am I listed?" "You're the sponsoring member. Your attendance is required if the authorization is signed that day. And the deadline is still 5? "Exactly 5. "If I bring this form marked withdrawn instead, can you accept it there?" "Yes." "What would you do?" "I would note the withdrawal in the file, release the ballroom hold, and remove the reception from the club schedule. In that order?" "Yes." "Would you tell the family?" "They would be standing at the planning table. I would confirm the status to everyone involved." I looked through the glass wall of her office. 2 employees were arranging chairs in the hallway. Would that embarrass them? Rachel chose her words carefully. It would be public because the showcase is public. The rule would be the same in my office. I appreciated that answer. She wasn't offering me a stage. She was describing the place Kelsey had already chosen for the signature. Can I wait until then? Yes. The hold remains active until you withdraw or the deadline passes. Do not tell Kelsey I asked these questions. I won't discuss your decision, only the current status. Correct. I put the papers back into the folder. Rachel said, "Sandra, I need to mention one thing." "What?" "If you release the hold during the showcase, We cannot restore it later as part of the same reservation. Even if I change my mind, it would require a new request and the date could be taken. I nodded. That's what I needed to know. Using the leverage would be permanent enough to matter. It would also end the last reason Eric and Kelsey had to keep me close. I drove home by way of downtown Franklin. I parked near a bakery and bought one loaf of bread. Then I sat in the car without starting it. I could still choose a private ending. I could call Rachel and release the hold that afternoon. Kelsey would receive an email. The printed invitations would become her problem. I would never need to face Brianna. I could also forward the original packet to every person who had shared Kelsey's post. 36 pages could ruin her version before lunch. Both choices were easier. One was silent. The other was cruel. Neither gave Eric the chance to speak honestly when it cost him something. I drove home. Kelsey called at 1:20. Her voice was gentle. I've been thinking. All right, I don't want us fighting. Neither do I. We've all said things. I wrote mine down. She paused. I'm trying to reach out. I'm listening. The showcase is coming up. Brianna and Caleb will be there. I heard. We thought that might be a good place for everyone to start over. In a ballroom, it's cheerful. There'll be food and flowers. No pressure. And the authorization. That too. I looked at the folder on the desk. Does Brianna know I'm the sponsoring member? Kelsey, I said, then stopped. She waited. I had almost asked the same question again. I didn't need her answer anymore. What does Brianna know about me attending? I asked. She knows you're Eric's mother. That isn't what I asked. She knows you may come. Does she know I've asked to meet her? Why do you keep returning to that? Because no one answers. This can be the meeting. Will you tell her I requested it? I don't want her walking in prepared for conflict. The truth is not preparation for conflict. It can feel that way, especially when it arrives late. Kelsey exhaled. Can we agree to keep the showcase positive? What does positive mean? No accusations. No old grievances. No discussion of money in front of Brianna. The event exists because of money. It's a wedding showcase. It's also my signing deadline. We can handle the form privately with Rachel. You chose a public event. I didn't know you were going to make that significant. You printed invitations. The deadline became significant. Her gentleness disappeared. Are you planning to humiliate us? No. Then sign before the showcase. No. Why? Because I will make my decision there. That sounds like a threat. It's a time and place. What are you waiting for? One honest action from Eric. What action? He knows. She hung up. I did not call back. An hour later, Eric sent me a message. Can I come over alone? I told him yes. He arrived after work. He wore Donald's brown coat. It fit him through the shoulders but hung loosely at the waist. Seeing it on him made me grip the edge of the door. You said you'd wear it, I said. I have been. He stepped inside. I made coffee. We sat at the kitchen table without food between us. Kelsey says you're making the decision at the showcase. Yes. Why there? That's where she wants the signature. You could sign here. I could. Are you going to? I'm going to attend the showcase. That's not an answer. It's the only one I'm giving. He rubbed the cuff of Donald's coat. Brianna will be there. I know. She's excited about the ballroom. Does she know how it's being held? Not exactly. Then tell her. Before the showcase? Tonight. What would that accomplish? She would arrive knowing who helped. This is still about credit. No. It's about consent. He looked down. What do you want me to say? Tell her I asked to meet her after the adoption. She'll ask why we didn't arrange it. Answer her. Kelsey will be furious. That is a consequence, not an answer. He stood and walked to the sink. He stared out the window over it. I don't know how things got this bad. I do. He turned around. Do you want my marriage to fail? No. Kelsey thinks you do. Kelsey benefits when every disagreement becomes that large. She's my wife, and I'm your mother. Those facts can share a room. He returned to the table. If I tell Brianna now, Kelsey will say I betrayed her. If you don't, you're betraying the truth again." He pressed his hands together. "I need more time. The deadline is April 30th. I don't mean the form. I know." His eyes filled, though no tears fell. "Dad would know what to do. Your father would tell you to stop asking dead people to make living decisions." Eric gave one short laugh. "That sounds like him." "It does." He looked at me. "If I tell Brianna everything, will you sign?" "No." His face changed. "Then what's the point?" "The point is telling her. You won't give me anything? I'm giving you the chance to act without payment attached." He sat very still. That was the test he had avoided all along. Not whether he loved me, not whether he felt sorry, whether he would do one honest thing without receiving access to my money. He stood a minute later. "I'll see you at the showcase. That's your decision. I can't do this tonight." He left wearing Donald's coat. I watched his car back out of the driveway. He did not call Brianna that night. At least he did not tell me he had. 2 days later, Kelsey emailed a revised vendor packet. My name appeared at the family table, on the photograph list, and in the introduction order. Beside it, she had written Grandma Sandra. I did not respond. The revisions were another offer made to the authorization, not to me. On April 28th, the wedding page posted a reminder about the Cumberland Ridge showcase. Kelsey wrote that the venue details would be finalized there. The comments were hopeful. One person wrote that family always worked things out in the end. I took a screenshot and closed the page. That evening, I opened the complete vendor packet to the first version. I placed a yellow tab on the financial sponsor line. I placed another on the original family table and one on the photograph list. I wasn't planning to read 36 pages aloud. I only needed the facts available if Kelsey denied them. The packet authenticated what had happened. It was not the leverage. The leverage remained one sheet of paper. I took out the unsigned authorization and read the signature line. Then I wrote April 30th in my calendar beside 5 o'clock. I put the form back without marking it. If I used it, the ballroom would be gone. The deposit would be gone. Eric might walk away with it. I accepted all 3 possibilities. Then I zipped my membership card into my purse and chose the dress I would wear to the showcase. On April 30th, I woke before 6. I made coffee and opened the curtains. The sky was gray. Rain had left the back steps dark, but the sun was beginning to show through the clouds. At 8, I unlocked Donald's desk. I took out the authorization and placed it on the blotter. The signature line waited at the bottom. Instead of signing, I printed one word across it in blue ink: withdrawn. I added the date beneath it. I placed the form in a clean folder. Behind it, I put the original vendor packet and the deposit receipt. Then I locked the desk. At 3:30, I drove to Cumberland Ridge. The parking lot was crowded. Couples crossed toward the entrance carrying folders and fabric samples. A florist's van stood near the side doors. I kept my purse close. My membership card was zipped inside it. The folder rested under my arm. Inside, the hall smelled like coffee and cut flowers. Small tables lined the walls. One displayed cakes. Another held rows of place cards written in gold ink. The grand ballroom doors were open. I saw Kelsey first. She stood beside a sample table covered in pale green linen. Eric was next to her wearing Donald's brown coat. Brianna stood across from them. I recognized her from the courthouse announcement. She wore a dark blue dress and held Caleb's hand. One of her grandmothers was showing her a flower arrangement. The other stood near the photographer's display. Both families were there. So were the people Kelsey had told about my gift. I stopped near the doorway. Brianna looked toward me. Our eyes met for perhaps 2 seconds. Kelsey saw it and walked over quickly. "You came. I said I would." She glanced at the folder. "Is that the authorization?" "It's the authorization." Her shoulders relaxed. "Good." Rachel has a table near the windows. She took my elbow. I moved my arm before she could guide me. "Introduce me first." "To everyone?" "To Brianna." Kelsey looked over her shoulder. "She's talking with her grandmother. I can see that. We have to handle the paperwork before 5. There's time. It's 4:10. Then don't waste it." Her mouth tightened. Eric approached us. "Hi, Mom. Hello, sweetheart." He leaned in for a hug. I accepted it, though his arms barely touched me. He noticed the folder, too. "Do you have everything?" "Yes," Kelsey said. "Let's go to Rachel. I asked for an introduction." Eric glanced toward Brianna. "She's in the middle of something. She's standing beside flowers. She's nervous today." "About what?" "The wedding. All the changes." "What changes does she know about?" Kelsey stepped between us slightly. "This is not the moment." A photographer called Kelsey's name from the display table. She looked relieved. "I need to handle that. Eric, take Sandra to Rachel." She walked away before I answered. Eric lowered his voice. "Can we please sign first?" "No." "Mom, I'm not repeating myself all afternoon." He looked at the folder. "What did you decide?" "You'll know when Rachel opens it." His face lost color. "Why would you say it like that? Because you've had 6 months to answer one request." Brianna laughed at something behind him. Eric looked back. Then he turned to me. "Not here." "Where?" "We can arrange dinner. You promised that in October. This is different, because you need something today." He pushed his hands into Donald's coat pockets. "I don't want to fight." "Then tell the truth before anyone asks." He didn't move. Rachel approached from the planning tables. "Sandra, I'm glad you made it. Thank you." She glanced at Eric. "I have your file ready whenever you are." Kelsey returned with a photographer's brochure. "We're ready now." "No," I said. "We're not." Several people looked toward us. "Not everyone. Enough." Kelsey smiled as though I had made a joke. "Sandra wants her formal introduction. I want Eric to introduce me to Brianna." Kelsey's smile remained. "Of course. We can do that after the paperwork. Before." Brianna had heard her name. She looked toward us again. Kelsey walked to her. "Come over for a second." Brianna and Caleb approached. My hands remained steady around the folder. Kelsey touched Brianna's back. "You remember Eric's mother, Sandra?" Brianna smiled politely. "Yes, from the wedding." "We met briefly," I said. Kelsey continued before Brianna could answer. "Sandra is helping us with the club arrangements. We've had a few planning misunderstandings, but everything is being finalized today. There was the false version, polished and ready, a misunderstanding, a helpful relative, a form waiting to be signed." Brianna looked at the folder. "I heard there was an issue with the room." Kelsey gave her another smile. "Nothing we couldn't fix." Eric said nothing. I asked Brianna, "What were you told?" Kelsey answered for her. "She doesn't need to go through all that now." Brianna looked at her mother. "I can answer." Kelsey's hand dropped from her back. Brianna turned to me. "Mom said you didn't like the first seating plan. She said they changed it. Did she tell you why I was part of the planning? You're a club member. Did she tell you I paid the deposit?" Brianna's eyes moved to Kelsey. "No." Kelsey stepped in. "We were reimbursing you. You haven't. This is not appropriate. You brought both families to watch me sign. We brought them to a wedding showcase and told them the room would be finalized." Kelsey's voice became low. "Please don't do this to her." Brianna looked from Kelsey to me. "Do what?" No one answered. I looked at Eric. This was his last chance before I opened the folder. He knew it. I said, "Eric, would you introduce me to my granddaughter before I accept the bill?" Brianna's expression changed. Eric looked at Kelsey. Then he looked toward the 2 women standing near the flower display. His voice was quiet, but the room around us had become quiet too. "Mom, she already has 2 grandmothers." Brianna heard him. So did Kelsey. So did Rachel. I did not answer Eric. I turned to Rachel and opened the folder. The authorization was on top. I handed it to her. "I'm withdrawing my sponsorship." Rachel looked at the word across the signature line. "Understood. I will not buy access to my own family." Rachel carried the form to the planning table. She opened the event file on her tablet. Kelsey moved beside her. "Wait, we need a minute." "The member has withdrawn," Rachel said. She's upset. She doesn't mean it. I said, I mean it. Eric came to the table. Rachel, can you give us more time? The deadline is 5 o'clock today. It isn't 5 yet. The withdrawal is effective when I accept it. Can she take it back? Rachel looked at me. I said no. Rachel entered the change. The ballroom hold has been released. Kelsey gripped the edge of the table. You can't release it. Invitations have gone out. The hold required Sandra's authorization. We planned every vendor around this room. I understand. No, you don't. The florist, the caterer, the photographer, all of them were given this address. Rachel remained calm. The reservation was tentative. It was only tentative because Sandra wouldn't sign. That sentence carried across the planning area. People near the cake table turned toward us. Kelsey pointed at my purse. She's the member. We can't reserve this ballroom without her membership. Everyone knows that. They did now. Brianna stood several feet away. Caleb remained beside her, but she had released his hand. Eric lowered his voice. Mom, give us until tomorrow. There is no tomorrow in this agreement. We can talk tonight. We've talked for months. You never said you were definitely withdrawing. You never said I was definitely family. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. Rachel removed the July reception from the club's schedule. I watched the line disappear from her tablet. Then she returned the club's copy of the vendor packet to Kelsey. The ballroom is no longer reserved for this reception. Kelsey did not take the packet. Rachel placed it on the table. The consequence was complete. One unsigned authorization had opened the room. One marked withdrawal closed it. There was no second account, no hidden owner, no person arriving to rescue me, only the rule they had expected me to obey in their favor. Kelsey turned to the people around us. This is a family dispute. Please give us privacy. No one moved at first. Then the florist stepped away. The photographer lowered his brochure. Several club members returned to their conversations, though they spoke more quietly. Brianna remained where she was. She looked at Eric. What did you mean? He rubbed the back of his neck. Brianna, this isn't the time. You said I already have 2 grandmothers. Kelsey reached for her arm. Let's go outside. Brianna pulled away. No. What did she ask you? Eric looked at me. I did not answer for him. He swallowed. She wanted me to introduce you. Today? I held his gaze. Since when? Brianna asked. Kelsey said, This is exactly what Sandra wanted. She wanted a scene. I took the original vendor packet from my folder. No, I wanted a meeting. You brought private documents. I brought the documents attached to my money. Kelsey looked at the packet, then at Brianna. That was an unfinished draft. Brianna stepped closer. What draft? I opened to the yellow tab on the contact page. I did not hand it to her. I held it where she could read. Kelsey was listed as family coordinator. Eric was listed as secondary contact. My line said financial sponsor and sponsoring member. Brianna read it. Then she looked at the revised packet on Rachel's table. Why is Sandra only called that? Kelsey answered quickly. She wasn't. We changed it. After I received the complete file, I said, Brianna turned another page. The original seating chart appeared beneath the second tab. She saw the family table. She saw both grandmothers listed. She saw that my name was absent. Her finger moved down the page. Where was she sitting? Kelsey folded her arms. It was unfinished. Where? We hadn't placed every guest. You placed both grandmothers. They've known you your whole life. Brianna looked at Eric. And Sandra? He stared at the carpet. Kelsey said, She barely knows you. Brianna's voice changed. I thought she didn't want to. No one spoke. I could hear the piano player in the hallway. He had reached the end of a song and begun another. Brianna looked at me. Did you? Did I what? Want to know me? Yes. Kelsey moved toward her again. Brianna, your wedding reception was just canceled. We need to call the vendors. You call them. This affects you. So does this. Kelsey's face tightened. We have less than 3 months to find another place. I know. Then come with me. Brianna looked at the withdrawn form on Rachel's table. "Can the room be put back?" Rachel answered. "The hold has been released. What if Sandra changes her mind? A new request would be required. The date is no longer protected." Brianna turned to me. "Will you make a new request?" "No." I said it gently, but I did not soften the answer. "I won't restore the reservation." Kelsey gave a short, bitter laugh. "There. Now you see." Brianna did not look at her. She looked at me. "Were you going to pay the whole thing?" "I was responsible for the remaining $18,000 if I signed." "And you already paid something?" "The deposit." "How much?" $2,000. "Did they pay you back?" Eric closed his eyes. Kelsey said, "We were going to." Brianna looked at both of them. "You told me you found this place." "We did find it," Kelsey said. "Could you reserve it without Sandra?" No answer came. Brianna picked up the revised vendor packet. She compared its first page with mine. Then she set it down. "I need some air," Caleb asked. "Do you want me to come? Give me a minute." She walked toward the ballroom doors. Kelsey called after her, "Brianna!" She kept walking. Eric turned to me. "Are you happy now?" I looked at my son wearing his father's coat. "No." He flinched. Kelsey gathered the packets from Rachel's table. "You've destroyed her reception." "No," I said. "I stopped sponsoring it. You know we can't replace this. Then you should have planned within what you controlled." She shoved the revised pages into her bag. Eric remained beside her, silent again. I thanked Rachel. She nodded once. "The withdrawal is recorded. You have no remaining balance." I placed my copy of the deposit receipt back into the folder. The ballroom behind us was still full of flowers, cakes, and sample tables. The showcase continued. Another couple stepped toward Rachel's planning area. I walked through the hall and out the front doors. The afternoon had turned cool. I crossed beneath the covered entrance and reached the first row of parked cars. Behind me, the club doors opened. "Sandra, wait." I turned. Brianna was following me outside. She stopped a few feet from me. "Did you really ask to meet me?" "Yes, when?" "After I received the adoption announcement." "You got an announcement?" "In the mail." Her face tightened. "I thought Eric told you before." "He didn't." "What did he say when you asked?" "He said you were busy." Brianna looked through the glass doors. Eric and Kelsey were still inside. How many times? Enough that I stopped counting in my head. I started writing them down. "You wrote them down?" Because the answers kept changing. She folded her arms against the cold. "My mom said you needed space. She told me she said that. I thought you were upset Eric adopted me. I was upset he hid it from me. That's different." "Yes." She watched a couple cross the parking lot. "I didn't know about Thanksgiving either." "What do you mean?" "Eric mentioned a pie. Mom said you dropped it off because you didn't want to come to dinner." I stared at her. "I invited all three of you to my house. You left your grandmother's meal before they came. My friends were waiting. You weren't told I was waiting too." "No." The club doors opened again. Caleb came outside but stayed near the entrance. Brianna lowered her voice. "Why didn't you contact me yourself? I didn't have your number at first. You could have found me online." I considered it. "Why didn't you?" "I wanted Eric to tell you the truth. I didn't want to arrive like a complaint from a stranger." She looked down. "You aren't a stranger now. I still may feel like one. That isn't your fault. It isn't yours either." The wind lifted one side of my folder. I held it closed. Brianna pointed toward it. "Can I see the packet?" "Not in the parking lot." "Will you show me later?" "Yes." "Everything?" "Yes." She looked relieved, then worried. "If I ask you something, will you answer directly?" "I'll try." "Were you going to sign if Eric introduced us?" That question mattered. "No." She waited. "I had already decided not to sign," I said. "I wanted to see whether he would introduce us without getting my money." Brianna nodded slowly. So that was his chance. It was one of them. "Did you know he would say that?" "No." Her mouth tightened. "I'm sorry." "You didn't say it." He said it because of me. He said it because of himself. She wiped beneath one eye with her finger. Are you going to put the ballroom back? No. What if I ask? No. I watched her absorb the answer. I won't sponsor another venue either, I said. I wasn't going to ask. I need that clear. It is. The deposit is gone. Mom should repay you. That's between them and me. No, it's connected to my wedding. You didn't make the arrangement. I benefited from it. You didn't know. That doesn't mean I can pretend it didn't happen. Caleb came closer. Everything okay? No, Brianna said, but I'm okay. He looked at me. I'm Caleb, Sandra. I know. Brianna almost smiled. Then she took out her phone. Can I have your number? I gave it to her. She called while standing there. My phone rang inside my purse. Now nobody has to carry messages, she said. No. Kelsey appeared behind the glass doors. Brianna saw her. I need to deal with this. You don't have to deal with it today. Yes, I do. She looked at Caleb. Can you pull up that restaurant we liked? The one downtown? Yes. He took out his phone. Kelsey pushed through the doors. We need to leave. The caterer is waiting. Brianna turned to her. You go. We need to make calls together. No, you need to stop speaking for me. Kelsey looked at me. What did you tell her? The truth, Brianna said. I asked Sandra, and I answered. Kelsey's face hardened. This is between our family. Brianna stepped beside me. She is our family. That's what the adoption did. No one moved. Then Brianna said, I'm finding another reception place. Caleb and I will choose it. We don't have time for that. Then we'll have cake at a restaurant. You send 100 invitations. We'll send corrections. Do you know what that costs? Less than that ballroom. Kelsey looked toward the folder. Sandra has made her point. Brianna shook her head. No. Eric made it. Kelsey walked back inside. She did not apologize. She did not look at me again. Brianna asked if I could meet her for coffee the following morning. Just us? I asked. Caleb can come if that makes you more comfortable. Just us is fine. She chose a cafe in Franklin. She texted the address before I reached my car. That was my first direct invitation from her. No task came with it. No bill followed. The next morning, Brianna arrived before me. She had already bought her coffee but waited to order food. I didn't know what you liked, she said. That's a good reason to ask. She smiled. What do you like? Toast with too much butter. We ordered at the counter. For the first 20 minutes, we did not discuss the wedding. She told me about her work. I told her how Donald cheated at cards and denied it badly. She asked what Eric had been like growing up. Quiet until he trusted you. He's still like that. Now he stays quiet after he trusts you too. She looked into her coffee. He lets Mom handle hard conversations. I know. She told me it was because you judged her. Did you believe that? I believe there were two sides. There are. What's hers? She wanted control. I made it easy by trying to be useful. Brianna studied me. That doesn't make what she did okay. No. I showed her the packet. We went through it slowly. She saw the financial sponsor line. She saw the first seating draft and the picture list. Then I showed her the revised version. She added Grandma Sandra without asking either of us, Brianna said. Yes. I would have called you that if I knew you. I would rather wait until you mean it. She closed the packet. I don't know what to call you yet. Sandra works. We finished our coffee. Before leaving, she showed me a restaurant on her phone. It had a private dining room, but the main room stayed open to the public. Caleb and I ate there after we got engaged, she said. It isn't fancy. It looks warm. They can fit our closest people. We'd have to cut the guest list. That's your decision. Would you come see it with us? Yes. I'm not asking you to pay. I know. I need you to say you know. I know. We visited the restaurant that afternoon. Brianna asked questions about food, parking, and table arrangements. Caleb took notes. I listened. When the manager asked who would sign the agreement, Brianna said, Caleb and I will. No one looked at me. That was a practical difference I could feel. They reserved the room with their own payment. The reception would be smaller. The date changed by 1 week because the original Saturday was unavailable. The ballroom did not return. By evening, Brianna posted an update on the wedding page. Our original venue was never finalized. It depended on an unsigned sponsorship agreement, and we should not have mailed invitations before that agreement was complete. Please do not contact Sandra about the change. Caleb and I have chosen a smaller reception at a restaurant we love. Kelsey did not share the post. Eric did. Then he added a comment beneath it. My mother asked me more than once to introduce her to Brianna. I failed to do that. What I said at Cumberland Ridge was wrong. The venue problem was caused by decisions we made before Sandra signed anything. I read his comment 3 times. It was action, small, late, and public. It did not restore anything. Kelsey called me that night. You've turned Brianna against me. I did not tell her what to do. You showed her private documents. She asked to see documents about her wedding. She canceled half the guest list. She chose what she could afford. We could have found another sponsor. You still can. It will not be me. You humiliated Eric. He corrected himself. You always wanted him to choose you. I wanted him to speak. He says he's repaying your deposit. I haven't heard that from him. He's moving money. I've heard that before. Kelsey's voice became cold. I won't apologize for protecting my daughter. You protected your plan. She was happy before this. She was misinformed. Families don't survive if everyone insists on every truth. Then yours and mine may need distance. Kelsey hung up. That relationship remained where she left it. No apology, no accountability, no access to my membership. 2 days later, Eric asked to come over. I told him he could come for 15 minutes. He arrived without Kelsey. He also came without a check. I posted the correction, he said. I saw it. I told Brianna everything. Everything? The announcement, the calls, Thanksgiving. What did she say? That I was a coward? I did not disagree. He sat at the kitchen table. I'm sorry, Mom, I hear you. That's all? An apology tells me what you feel today. What do you need? Action that continues tomorrow. He looked toward Donald's chair. I'm trying. I know. Can we have dinner this week? No. His face fell. Not yet, I said. Repay the deposit. Correct the story with the relatives who heard Kelsey's version. Stop letting her manage when you call me. She's my wife, and your phone is yours. He nodded. If I do those things, we can have one meal. That sounds formal. It is. He stood when his 15 minutes ended. At the door, he asked, Will you come to the restaurant reception? Brianna invited me. Will you come? Yes. He nodded. For the first time, my answer to a family invitation required nothing else from me. 3 days later, Eric returned with a cashier's check. He placed it on the kitchen table. The amount was $2,000. I should have brought this sooner, he said. Yes, I used part of my bonus. I checked the name and amount. Both were correct. Kelsey didn't contribute? No. Does she know you're here? Yes. Did she approve? His face tightened. I didn't ask her to approve repaying money we owed you. That was different. I put the check inside my deposit envelope. What else have you done? I called her mother. What did you say? I told her the reception was never my gift to promise. I told her you paid the deposit and we never repaid you. How did she respond? She said Kelsey hadn't explained it that way. I'm sure she hadn't. I also contacted the relatives who commented on the wedding post. All of them? Everyone whose number I had. And your statement at the club? I told them exactly what I said. He looked down. I didn't call it a misunderstanding. That mattered more than the check. Not enough by itself, more. Did you speak with Brianna? Yesterday. What did she say? She said I adopted her into a family and then kept one part of that family away. I folded my hands. She's right. I know. He waited. Can we have that meal now? Yes. His shoulders lowered. Here? No. Somewhere neither of us has to clean afterward. We met at a small diner the following Tuesday. Eric arrived before me. He had already asked for a table, but he had not ordered for me. That detail sounds small. It was small. Repair began with small things that stayed small. He asked what I wanted. He listened to the answer. We talked about the roof repair and Donald's coat. We did not spend the whole meal discussing Kelsey. Halfway through, Eric's phone lit up. He looked at it, then turned it face down. "Do you need to answer?" I asked. "No. Is it Kelsey?" "Yes." I waited. He said, "She knows I'm having lunch with you. And she doesn't like it. What are you going to do about that?" "Finish lunch." He did. When the check came, he paid for his meal and I paid for mine. He did not ask about my finances. He did not mention Cumberland Ridge. Outside, he hugged me without rushing. "Can I call you Thursday?" he asked. "You don't need permission to call." "I know. I'm asking whether you'll answer." "Yes." He called Thursday. Then he called the following Sunday. The second call lasted 7 minutes. Kelsey did not come into the background. No one told him he had somewhere else to be. On the third call, he asked if I would have dinner with both of them. "Not yet," I said. All right. No argument. No warning about his marriage. No message from Kelsey 10 minutes later. That was another test. He passed it by accepting the answer. Kelsey kept her distance. She did not apologize for the packet, the post, or the months of blocking contact. She sent one email about the restaurant reception. "For Brianna's sake, I hope we can all behave appropriately," I replied. "I will follow Brianna's wishes." Kelsey did not answer. Brianna's wishes came directly from Brianna now. She called me about once a week. Sometimes she asked wedding questions. Sometimes she called because she was driving home and wanted company. She invited me to see the restaurant layout after the tables were arranged. When I arrived, she and Caleb were moving chairs. "Don't lift that," I said. Brianna kept lifting. "I'm 25, not 5. I'm 70, not furniture." She laughed. We moved the chairs together. The private room had cream walls and dark wooden tables. The windows faced a narrow courtyard with potted herbs. It did not have a ballroom dance floor. It did not have tall windows or a club terrace. It felt comfortable. Brianna showed me the seating plan. "I want you at the family table," she said. "Did you make that decision?" "Yes." "Did anyone move to make room?" "No." "We built the table this way." She pointed to a chair near Eric. "Would you be comfortable there?" She asked for my consent, not my membership, not my payment. "Yes," I said. "Good." Then she showed me the photography list. My name was on it once. Sandra with Brianna. No assigned title. No forced relationship. "Is this okay?" she asked. "Yes." "I thought we could decide what we call each other later." "We can." The restaurant manager brought the final estimate. Brianna read every page. Caleb read it after her. When they reached the payment section, I walked toward the courtyard windows. Brianna called after me. "You don't have to leave. I'm giving you privacy. We're paying with our joint account." "I know. I want you to see that." I returned to the table. They signed their own agreement. The manager gave them the receipt. Brianna placed it in her folder. No one handed me a form. In June, Eric came to the house carrying an old photo album. I thought Brianna might like this. It contained pictures from his college years and several of Donald holding fish he probably hadn't caught. "Ask her," I said. "Can't you give it to her?" "You found it." "You ask." He looked uncertain. Then he called Brianna. Not Kelsey. Brianna answered, and he told her about the album. They spoke for several minutes. He did not make me explain it for him. Afterward, he said, "She wants to come look at it Sunday. Here, if that's okay with you." "It is." "Can Kelsey come?" I paused. "Not this time." He nodded. "All right." On Sunday, Eric and Brianna came together. We sat in the living room with the album between us. Eric told a story about Donald pretending to fall asleep during a graduation speech. Brianna laughed hard enough to spill her tea. When Kelsey called, Eric answered. "We're still at Mom's," he said. He listened. "No, I'm not asking them to leave." Another pause. "I'll talk to you when I get home." He ended the call and returned to the album. He didn't criticize Kelsey. He didn't make me responsible for calming her. He simply stayed. That was the second meal I allowed him to share at my home. It did not erase the empty Thanksgiving table. It gave us a different Sunday. Before they left, Brianna stood beside Donald's photograph. I wish I'd met him. He would have liked you. How do you know? You question people when they avoid an answer. She smiled. Was he like that? No. That's why he needed people who were. By July, the corrected invitations had gone out. They were simple cards with the restaurant address. Brianna mailed mine herself. Inside, she wrote, "I hope you'll sit with us." I kept that card on the sideboard. The wedding page changed too. Brianna removed Kelsey as the only person allowed to post updates. She and Caleb handled the messages. When guests asked about the venue, they gave one answer. The original room was tentative. The couple chose a smaller reception they could reserve themselves. No one mentioned my seating chart. No one called me difficult. The first public version had not disappeared completely. Those things rarely do, but it was no longer the only version left standing. A week before the reception, Eric asked me to dinner again. This time, he came to my house and brought groceries. "I'm cooking," he said. "Do you know how?" "No." That's honest. He made pasta. The sauce was too sweet and he cut the bread unevenly. We ate it anyway. After dinner, he washed the dishes. "Kelsey thinks I'm choosing you over her," he said. "What do you think?" "I think I spent years letting her choose for me." I dried a plate. "And now she can decide how she treats you." "I decide whether I call my mother. That may make your house uncomfortable. It already has. Are you asking me to fix that?" "No." He handed me another plate. That answer was the clearest repair he had offered. I put the plate in the cabinet. "You and Kelsey may need help that I can't provide. I know. She may never want a relationship with me. I know that too. And I won't lend money to make one easier. I'm not asking." I looked at him. He held my gaze. For once, the conversation ended without a bargain. The afternoon before the reception, Brianna came to my house alone. She carried a small box of blank place cards and a black pen. "I'm finishing these tonight," she said. "You came here to write?" "I came here because my apartment is full of flowers." We sat at the kitchen table. She wrote names while I tied narrow green ribbons around the cards. At one point, she covered a card with her hand. "What are you hiding?" "Nothing." "You're a poor liar." "I'm still deciding something." "Then take your time." She placed the card face down and moved to the next one. We worked until nearly 7. Before leaving, she asked, "Do you regret the deposit?" "I regret why I paid it." "That isn't what I asked." "No, I don't regret losing it." "Even before Eric repaid you? Even then?" She nodded. "I'm glad you didn't restore the ballroom." "So am I. This place feels more like us. You chose it." "That's probably why." She packed the cards into the box. The face-down one went in last. On the reception day, I dressed at home. I wore the silver earrings Donald gave me. I chose a soft blue dress instead of the formal one Kelsey had approved. Before leaving, I opened my purse. My Cumberland Ridge membership card was still in its zipped pocket. I left it there. At the restaurant, the main dining room was busy with ordinary Saturday guests. Plates moved through the room. Someone near the bar laughed too loudly. The reception space was warm and crowded. Kelsey stood beside the entrance. She looked at my dress, then at my purse. "Hello, Sandra." "Hello, Kelsey." Neither of us pretended more. She stepped aside. Eric came over and kissed my cheek. "I saved your seat." Brianna said she handled the seating. She did. Then she saved it. He smiled. "You're right." Across the room, Brianna was carrying the place card box. She moved from chair to chair, setting each name beside a folded napkin. When she reached the family table, she stopped in front of me. "I decided what I want to call you," she said. I looked at the card in her hand. "Are you sure?" "Yes." She placed a handwritten card reading Grandma Sandra beside my plate, while my Cumberland Ridge membership card remained zipped inside my purse.